Big Sales, how you doing, man? Holy cow, what a time of the year. How cool is it for the city of Philadelphia right now? Shit, I heard Xander doing a show today for 3 hours talking parade. That's fucking great. That is awesome. That's tremendous. Planning a championship parade. Dude, all the cities in the National Football League, okay, that is going to embrace that championship. Look, if you win that bitch in Los Angeles, nobody gives a shit out there. They're at the beach, man. They don't care. New York, they barely care. Boston, they would care. But in Philly, man, I'm looking forward to that. Xander's going to be down there, and I hope we get some live shots. I don't give a shit if he's standing with his phone. I want him in the middle of that bitch, and we want him on every fucking hour going. I hope he's got a beer in his hand going, Sales, look at this shit down here. Looking forward to it, man. Appreciate it very much. Look at this guy here, okay? Yeah, that's what I am. Acting like he's happy all of a sudden. Here's Senor. Fake? How many people in here think I'm a fucking fake guy on the air? What an asshole comment. Senor, disappointed in you that you would even you can call me an asshole. You can call me a piece of shit. You can call me so many things, but fake? I'm not sure I've ever heard that. So fuck you. Okay? All right. I'm in a good mood, though. Do me a favor. All likes. By the way, hey, Senor, you're now on my shit list with that because you can use only one word that I despise. Phony. That's not one word I am. And I've told you guys since fat, I'll take that. I will take that. Okay? You generally happy for Hurts won his first Super Bowl? I'm happy that anytime. How about this? It's a great comment. It's a great way to start the show. Are you genuinely happy for Jalen Hurts that he won his first Super Bowl? I'll tell you what I'm always thankful for, and what I'm really glad and I really root for athletes to do is to change the narrative and make other people look at them in a different light and prove people wrong. I proved people wrong my entire career. Okay? I've proved people wrong my entire career, and I root for that. I do. I root for that. How could you not root for the kid now that he's changed the narrative? Whatever you think of him or thought of him, are you generally happy? Let me ask somebody this. Do you really think that I root for or against people to have success in life? Who do you think I am? Skip Bayless? I don't root against people having success in life. I root for people that prove people wrong because I'm a guy who's proved people wrong my entire life. Hey, you can think whatever you want. I've been on the air for 40 years, almost, 38. And I don't root for people's failures. Okay? It's still the realist. Senor's right, man. Hey, Senor, why don't you just say it? Hey, don't be a pussball, Sills. We love you. You know that, you asshole. I'm here every day, 4 hours with you, man. So don't get your panties in a bind. Take your girdle off. Senor, you're right. Let me start this thing off in the right mode. Big Sills. And Senor, you and I are bosses. Okay? Okay. We appreciate you guys. By the way, how about this? Because you guys are so awesome, Ray Dittinger's going to join us at 5:30. We will have Mark Holmes. We got to get into his ass a little bit about Dak Prescott's comments about the Dallas Cowboys being compared to the Eagles. Where in the world do you get that? Now that you've won that championship with Hurts, those are consolation prizes. Those are consolation prizes now. Dude, yeah, okay, you won a bunch of consolation prizes. That guy's the king. He's the fucking king. Hit the like button. Supers go to the top. We appreciate everybody. Senor, you're my boy. You know that, man. Swifties and the Chiefs fans were review bombing CJ's mom's restaurant because he talked shit, saw a Cowboy fan coming to bat for us. He took a dump on us, but NFC East fans came to bat for us. Mad respect. Dude, the Swifties, who gives a shit? Merit badge. Who gives a shit about that chick's fans? Honest to God. And Chiefs fans crying that you took them apart? I'm crying too. You know what you're going to get from the national media? They're going to come up with it. It was the first, like Nick Wright. I heard Nick Wright say this. Well, it was the first bad game in 5 years. Hey, fuck that. It's the Super Bowl. You got annihilated in it. You didn't get beat in that game. You were annihilated in that game. There's no way that you could ever forget that. That was an ass beating. No, any way hey, it's one thing to get, I'll tell you this. If you're the Kansas City Chiefs, at least the Eagles put a fight up in the first Super Bowl in 57. You put no fight up. I mean, you waved the white flag at halftime. Don't get Sills wrong. Super Bowl only because Jalen Hurts is standard. TP. Kid wins the Super Bowl. What did I tell you? Changes the narrative on him. It has. You can never again ever mention the great quarterbacks in the game without him in it. You know why? You can't get around his resume. You know, the other stuff was subjective for years. Who's the second best quarterback, third or fourth or fifth best quarterback? Have you destroyed Dak Choker yet? Salute, Sills. Trey, we're getting there. Jason Kelce turned on the city. No, he didn't. Come on, Kyrie. He had his brother in the game. He was conflicted. I completely am all right with Jason Kelce. He was rooting for his brother. But he was also deep down rooting for the Eagles, too. I'm sorry, man. I mean, you know, I've talked to numerous people who send kids to other programs that are like going to Florida. Hey, man, you become a Gator fan when your kid's at Florida. You do. It's just you root for your brother. You root for your blood. I don't have a problem with Jason Kelce. He was in a really weird situation. I mean, you don't think Jason Kelce loves Philadelphia? You don't think he loves the Eagles? You don't think he embraces the Eagles? Can I tell Jason Kelce one thing that I got to tell you, and I'm going to give the Krauses love for this. Don't give a shit what people say about you on the internet. You know, Xander and Big Joe used to always go, Sills, I did that my whole career in radio. They're right. I don't give a shit what people say about me on the internet. Who gives a shit? Some keyboard warrior talking shit on you, Jason Kelce. You're worth $300. You're going to be worth $300 million in about 5 years from now. What the fuck do you care? Who gives a shit if somebody says anything wrong about you? I think it's disrespectful to Jason Kelce to assume that he would root against his brother. Any Eagle fan that does that, don't act like a Cowboy fan, pretending that you're, hey, you want to know, Senor, who's fake? Go look in those Cowboy fans. Listen to Dak Prescott talking about how close they are. And now it's our turn. Dude, it hasn't been your turn in 30 years. You will never win a Super Bowl as long as Jerry Jones is alive. That's reality. As long as he is alive, you'll never win. Never win a Super Bowl again. You've got to have a change in the voice there, man. If the quarterback of the football team has that mentality, that's a culture in the building, that they think they're close to Philly. Do you really think that you're close to the Eagle roster and the Eagle GM? That would assume that Jerry Jones and Dak thinks that they make decisions and sign contracts like Howie and the organization does. Since when? What's the best contract the Cowboys have signed in the last 20 years? Let's think about that. What is their best contract? It ain't Dak. It ain't Dak. Sills, where is Hurts rank in the NFC now? Oh, he's the best quarterback in the NFC. He proved it. What do you want me to say? A lie? His resume says it. Once again, I think talent and resume fall in the Brady line. Stills, who's the most talented quarterback that you've seen in the last 20 years? Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson. Who are the best quarterbacks you've seen in the last 20 years? Brady, Manning, put Hurts in there now, and I'm going to get to why. There's two different conversations. Stafford. There are two different conversations. Winning and talent. Doesn't it show you now talent doesn't always mean you're the best? You could be the most talented. Would we not agree with this? That Lamar Jackson is probably the greatest athlete we've seen play the quarterback position in NFL history. You put Hurts ahead of him in accomplishments, right? 2 conference championships, a Super Bowl, a 705 win percentage since he's been a starter. I'm not sure what to talk about here with that, right? I give people their credit when it's due. You will always get that from me. Seriously, you'll always get that from me. Sills, has your Eagles Super Bowl team from 04, 17, 22, and 24 changed since the Eagles' victory Sunday? Would you switch any players with the 24 team to their dominant performance? It's the best team you've ever had, Des. It's the best team you've ever had. By the way, here's a conversation for you. Get this. Your entire organization's the way you look at them, it's different now. And the more this gets away from the Super Bowl, the more you're going to see it. Right now, you guys are in party mode, and you should be. I look at more at a historical area now. Here's a topic for you. Small, but a small topic. Somebody asked me yesterday, Seals, do you think this is a dynasty? You think this is it too early? That's what it was. Is it too early to talk dynasty? Dak defenders will say he's 9-4. That's irrelevant now. It was relevant Saturday. Trey, it was relevant Saturday. Monday, it's not relevant. Those are consolation prizes now. I don't care he's 9. Hey, who cares? Who cares he's 9-4? I don't. Who really cares he's 9-4? What does that have anything to do with being a champion? Nothing. Hurts changed the narrative. The Eagle team changed the narrative. Let me show you something here. They got a 705 win percentage since this kid's been a starting quarterback. 48-20 in the regular season. And they're 6-3 in the postseason since he started. I don't know about you, but can you start talking about the team being the most dominant team in the NFC? Specifically, would you put Hurts ahead of McNabb? Here we go. McNabb's a better talent. Hurts is more accomplished. He's not a better passer than Donovan. He's a better player. He's a better player. It's really how you look and what you value more. He's a bigger winner, and his resume's better. He's just not he's not a more skilled player than McNabb. That's not true. McNabb is a more skilled player. Hurts is the better player, though, like Brady and Rodgers. Two things can be true, folks. Two things can be true. Please hit the like button. Get this here. Let me throw this at you. I know people are going, is it too early? I don't know. You got a 705 win percentage, 2 conference championships, and a Super Bowl, and you're 6-3 in the postseason. Boy, that's the start of something. It may not be dynasty, but it's dominance. 705 win percentage. Dude, if you're 550 in this league, they love – this is a league of parity. This is a league of parity. And you're 705 and 6-3 in the postseason. I don't know. I answered the question this way. Well, what would you consider almost 5 years now of dominance? Half a decade. And now with that Super Bowl on Sunday, dude, you changed everything with that win. Get this. Whatever my opinion is, you changed it. I am a guy that does this. Just like with a lot of people's views now on Hurts, you cannot bring that guy's name up outside of the game. When you bring up Allen's name and Lamar's name, you cannot not bring his name up. He wins more. Well, that's what we're in this for. It's a team sport. Okay? Let's say it again. They changed everything Sunday. Mark Holmes will join us along with Philly 500 at 4:30. Ray Denninger, 5:30. Xander's going to join us in his normal spot at 5:30. Please hit the like button. All supers go to the top. Guys, great. You've been unbelievable this week. Hurts being a power runner makes him way more unique. That's my favorite word for him. He's unique. By the way, here's another narrative I said he changed. He changed the narrative of dual-threat quarterbacks winning Super Bowls. Jalen Milroe will have a job, and he might get drafted higher now because of Jalen Hurts. I don't really see it. But then again, I really find it odd that people are now trying to change their opinion on Jalen Hurts when everyone knows Jalen Hurts was never drafted to be a starting quarterback in Philadelphia. It don't make it a bad pick. Again, 2 things can be true. They drafted him to be the seatbelt for Carson Wentz. And when you spend a 2 on him, you know they thought highly of him. 85% of Philadelphia Eagle fans hated the pick. Don't change your mind now. It's okay to get lucky. Okay? It's okay to get lucky. I think it's too early to talk dynasty. Biggest factors to determine that is what happens if, when we lose Lane, Stoutland, Saquon's age. We have to keep bringing in younger players each and every single year, and they have to mature. See, this is why I love sports. Players determine their own narrative. Andrew, you get it. Some people will think that you have to have get this. Some people will think, just like I see Senor in here talking flip-flop stuff again. You flip-flopped on, and so did the organization. The Eagles, Andrew, flip-flopped on Wentz. They gave him a historic 4-year contract in 2019. Did they not? 3 years later, they moved him. Did they flip-flop once again on Wentz? Absolutely. The organization paid him $38 million annually. Then they signed Hurts in the second round the next year in 20. They didn't sign Hurts to be the starter. You had just given the guy a 4-year, $38 million annual deal. Howie Roseman flip-flopped on Carson Wentz. You have to have adjustments when you're running a football team because things change. I have no problem saying Jalen wasn't playing great early in the year. He wasn't. But when the lights were on the brightest, he balled out. He absolutely did. That's exactly in the 2 most important games, the NFC title game and the Super Bowl. If Jalen goes for 4K passing and an MVP, would it vault him into the top 4? Geez. He's in the top 5 now. And by the way, I think you can shake up the dice and throw all the names on the table and put your own order in there. Mahomes is still number one. Okay? Mahomes is still number one. Hit the like button. We appreciate everybody. We're down at the bottom of the hour already. We got a ton of topics to hit on. Do me a favor. Give me a total on where we are in the likes, please. You guys have been insane. The interview yesterday that Merrill did was absolutely loaded with views. Angelo's killing it. Even Gary Cobb. Ray Didinger today at 5:30. We appreciate him coming aboard. Incredible, man. Incredible. So let's start the show off. Thank you. Philly Don, 104. Not bad. I'd like to get that up to about 150. Let's do this here. Okay? Listen, we do a sports talk show here. Okay? We do a sports talk show. So I want everyone to know these are topics to discuss. And we're going to go back and forth here with this. Biggest sign of growth of the Eagles as a whole is doing what worked. If this was 4 years ago, Jalen would have been gone because it didn't fit their vision. Playing as they are versus what they want us a Super Bowl and a bright future. It goes, Anthony, thank you. This supers go to the top. Guys, that actually goes into my topic here. Hurts is such an enigma. Not the biggest arm, not the most talented, but clutch and dude wins. We are lucky. Golden era for sure. Still feels unreal. Good for you, William. That's the way you should feel. William, Troy Aikman went to 5 conference championships, won 3 Super Bowls, and is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That's who I look at Jalen as. You got a problem with that? 5 conference championships, 3 NFC championship victories, 3 Super Bowl wins, and a gold jacket. Do you have a problem with that? Boy, I don't. Any quarterback who ever played in this league would love to have that resume. You got a problem with that? Okay? Do you have a problem with that? Boy, I sure don't. 3 Super Bowl championships. I never said Aikman went to 4. Aikman went to 3. 1, 3. He went to 5 conference championships. Oh, he went to 4 conference championships? I lied. How about misspoke, Barb? Jesus criminy, lied? Yeah, I lied about Troy Aikman. I lied. Yeah. Hey, I'm a liar on Troy Aikman. Instead of going to 5, he went to 4. I lied. Okay, Barb. Yeah, that's woo. I'm very disappointed I lied about Aikman. I forgive you. Thank you, Barb. Yeah. Hey, Barb, I love you. You're here all the time. So, hey, how could I not love you? Do me a favor, hit that like button. You should be throttled, man. It's a great time of the year. You're the only one with a parade. Good for you, man. Now, remember something. Do me a favor. This is the topic. Shows is Barkley making a run at the Hall of Fame. The way you placed it, making a run at it, let's see what he does next year. Master Chief. He doesn't have a Hall of Fame resume. He has a Hall of Fame season. He does not have a Hall of Fame resume. He had one of the greatest years in NFL history. So did Jamal Lewis. So did Chris Johnson. The difference, he topped it off with a Super Bowl. Okay? So he's making a run at it. Eagle defense's performance is the greatest in Super Bowl history due to the opponent. 85 Bears versus the Pats, Tony Eason. 2000 Ravens versus Giants and Collins. That's right. The kid from Penn State, 03, Bucks and Raiders. Gannon was the MVP that season, though. 2013 Seahawks versus Broncos, older Manning, okay? I think Marshawn Lynch has a great chance to be a Pro Football Hall of Fame, 2-time NFC champion, Super Bowl champion, over 10,000 yards rushing. Yeah, he's got Marshawn Lynch has a better resume than Saquon. He's done more in the postseason. He's done more. We're going to talk about resumes with Jalen and where he's going. Marshawn Lynch has done more. 2 conference championships. He was the centerpiece of that Seattle offense. Was never Wilson. Okay? So here, supers are the only thing that stopped me from doing our open here. How important do you think Nick Sirianni was this year to the Eagles' success? Let's start there. Scale of 1 to 10. What do you think his importance was? Okay? Five, 7, 9, 8. How important do you think Nick was? 10. Really? 7. And here's where I'm going with this. Well, then let me ask you this. How important do you think the coordinators were this year at winning the Super Bowl on a scale of 1 to 10? Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore, who just got the head coaching job with the Saints. How important do you think those guys were? If you're giving Nick the entire credit for it, the ones that just went 9-10, that means here, Bold gives no credit to the coordinators. King gets no credit to the coordinators. Everyone that went 8-9 only gave 10% or 1 to the coordinators. Everybody who said 8 and 9 and 10, that means you give no respect to the coordinators this year who helped you win a Super Bowl. Okay. So you're out of the discussion. If you think that Nick was a 10 in his importance in winning the Super Bowl, everyone who said that, you're out of this discussion. Okay? Sirianni's 9. So this guy thinks 10% went to the coordinators this year and their importance in winning the Super Bowl. Well, what happened last year when he didn't have the right coordinators? What happened? I know Jalen finally ran through the tape, and you give him his just due, but what area of his game do you think Jalen improved the most in the postseason? His decision-making and his post-snap reading and him playing ahead of the sticks. He was prepared in the passing game. The best I've ever seen him. So again, everybody that said 10, Nick gets entirely the credit for it. What happened last year when you hired the wrong coordinators? The team fell off the planet at the end of the year. Is that not Nick's fault, or was that bad coordinators? I'm confused on the importance of Nick. I'm not saying he's not important in this, by the way. I'm just asking you how important this next hire is to him. He's not a play-calling head coach. You know the one thing the Saints are hiring? Whether he has success or not, he's a play-calling head coach. Now, again, let's do this. Richard says, fuck last year. Well, let's go. Dude, I'm talking about the fucking hiring of your coordinator now. When you had the wrong coordinator in 2021, when you were 2-4, when Nick was calling plays, you changed the narrative by what? Getting Steichen to call the plays. So I'm asking you the importance to the team on the new coordinator. How much important do you think this is going to be this year? Some of you have already made your decision. It was all Sirianni this year. And the coordinators had nothing to do with it. Okay. We'll find out if the new coordinator that comes in is the new offensive coordinator, whether it's Kevin, but you hired from within before. I'm not saying you shouldn't go down that route. Again, this is a discussion. This is the discussion that's going on right now, and they're deciding who the next offensive coordinator is. This is not old news. You still haven't made news yet on who you're going to name. How important is this? The next coordinator in 8 years for Hurts. How important? How about this? On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is this next hire to Jalen and to Nick? Let me guess. What you just said. So the ones that said 10, you think Nick's got this covered. Okay? Last year, or when you elevated Brian Johnson, it was an absolute train wreck. My point is here, who you bring in is going to dictate if you win or lose in 2000. Now, the cool thing is you're not replacing two like you have in Detroit and like you did after the 22 Super Bowl. You're only replacing one. That one is now a head coach, so he obviously had success. By the way, I completely disagree with people who don't think Kellen had a sensational year. Hey, how many people think Jalen Hurts had a great postseason? Did Jalen have a great, well, how about we say the last two games? Because the first two he was not very good in. The final two and the most important two. The NFC Championship and the Super Bowl. How many people think he was great in those two games? Okay? He was. So was Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore put up 145 total points as an offensive coordinator and won the Super Bowl. He's got the job with New Orleans because of what he did in the postseason. And it validated what he did during the regular season. You may not like Kellen Moore, but he delivered a Super Bowl doing the right thing and had a phenomenal year. Broke records, most points ever scored in the postseason. Won a Super Bowl at the age of 36. You can't give Hurts all the credit and just sit there and go, well, it was all Jalen. And then the year previous, you blame Brian Johnson for the complete meltdown. No, somebody goes like this. Nobody's hating on Kellen. Yes, they were. Yes, they were. There were people in here like you that gave Kellen Moore no credit for winning the Super Bowl. You said it was all Nick. You said it was all Nick. You said it was all Nick. Did you not? I saw it. I saw it. You didn't give Kellen any credit for it. Isn't that hating on him? What you call me when you tell me I'm fucking hating on it. You gave him no credit for helping win the Super Bowl. You thought it was all Sirianni. Oh, whatever. Okay, I get it now. You get confronted with your own answers. Big Sills throws something out to you. I knew everybody would go, I give Nick Sirianni all the credit in the world. And then that means you don't give the coordinators any, including Vic Fangio. You don't win a Super Bowl if you don't have the proper coordinators in the building. Hey, Vic's the overseer in this. 2023 coaches tried to duplicate the 22 offense. The next OC will duplicate the 24 offense, which will have a better chance for success due to the O-line and Saquon. Whoa, so wait a minute here, Latin Inferno. You're saying then that they're not going to try to improve the passing game. They're going to stick to pretty much what they're doing. Is that right? So they're going to stick to that formula. And because if Kevin Patullo gets we don't win, Richard goes, we don't win without Vic. The offensive coordinator broke records for the most points scored in the postseason. And in the first two playoff games, Hurts had a net passing yardage average of 92 yards. This guy here had himself one of the best postseasons an offensive coordinator. By the way, he had the best offensive coordinating of any coordinator in NFL Super Bowl history. And Kellen had nothing to do with it, right? I see. Interesting. I missed the Super, Xander. I just missed the green Super, guys. We get them all, I promise you, please. Put it up there. I appreciate it. Still, the biggest difference between 22 and 24 compared to the 23. 22 and 24 were a run-first offense, and that definitely has to be the mantra going into 25. Keep that identity. I got you, brother. I got you. Nick was on the hot seat after week 4. I know. It never changed. Absolutely, the coordinators were instrumental, but the team doesn't run through the tape without believing in Nick before anyone else. I'll tell you what he did. He's growing into being that overseer of everything. But if you don't have the proper coordinators in the building, it's proven already you don't win. But that's the formula for Philly. The hiring of the coordinators are going to be, or coordinator is going to be as important as signing some of these free agents. If you don't get the right guy, and it doesn't matter if he comes from within, how many people feel better about, here, I'm going to go to the next topic here because it goes in here. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. Give me a total here. So let's do this. Let's go to the next topic because it kind of goes down this line. Would Hurts and the team benefit from a familiar voice inside the organization, Kevin Patullo, or a voice outside the organization? What would the team benefit more from? Remember something. You've already gone down this route. You elevated Brian Johnson. It was a colossal disaster. I'm not saying Kevin Patullo won't be a grand slam. I don't know that now on February 12th. How the hell would I know that? I'm asking you, do you want to go from within? Or do you want to have a voice from outside? Frank Reich. I see Bobby Slowick just got the OC job down in Miami. Do you want a voice from outside? Or do you want Kevin Patullo? You think that would be in the best interest for Hurts? What would help the team? What do you think? I want Frank back. I heard this. Haven't talked to Frank. They want Frank part of the organization in some aspect. I don't know if that's a consultant. I don't know if that's the OC. I know they want him back. Is Nick's coaching tree underrated? That would Nick's coaching tree? You mean Howie's coaching tree? He doesn't hire those guys. Frank Reich on this program told you the recommendation for Nick Sirianni came from Frank Reich to Jeffrey Lurie. He said that on this program. Vic was a consultant in 2022 on the team. They were brought in by Howie and the owner. Didn't the owner just get through telling you that the owner and Howie in the front office are going to be 1,000% instrumental in the hiring of the new coordinator? Most places, Andy Reid's not taking Clark Hunt or Brett Veach's opinion on who to hire. Don't be upset about what I'm saying. It's an organizational thing. You got a 705 win percentage since 21. Get your panties in a bind. I was wrong about Kellen. I was not happy about his hiring. He helped us win a Super Bowl. Thanks. Best of luck. Coordinators, we're 12 out of 10 why we won. By the way, the last 17 ball games with him as your offensive coordinator, you won 16 of them. Couldn't have done that fucking shitty of a job. I mean, here's my take on this. I wouldn't mind having a voice outside come in and be the offensive coordinator. Here's why. How many people believe that Kevin Patullo is going to follow the same formula that you guys had this year in this upcoming season to win a Super Bowl? I don't. That's not how they built this football team. They did not build the football team to be a smash mouth team. I mean, the salary cap, it shows you exactly what they've done. They're going to try to, like, now to what level? 10%, 20%, 30%, 50%? Try to get the passing game going? You can't just be one-dimensional. Here's why. If Barkley gets injured, is Hurts going to be able to carry you for 18 games? I don't know. He couldn't in 23. I don't know that. He did in 22. Okay? I'm not telling you I know right now on February 12th. I don't know. How much do you think they're going to change the offense in the off? Let's do this one. How much are you thinking they're going to change the offense? Do we agree they're going to change the offense? They're changing it. They're changing the offense. Just with the amount of carries and touches he had. Get this. Nobody's fucking, I'm done with that guy. Hey, you want to preserve the guy, right? The offensive coordinator, okay, is essential in this upcoming 2000. Your season is being set up now. See, what people don't get is, you look at the offseason and you think football's over. Football's just begun. Your quest to repeat starts now. Right now. While you guys are at Mitchell and Ness, by the way, I love that place. Dude, I hate Xander. Told me he was there because I was on that website fucking last night. I couldn't get off it. And I'm sitting there looking at that shit that's on there. Dude, that place is the best sports place in America. Dude, they still got my Dick Allen jersey in there. By the way, first day of spring training. And what sits on my desk? Legendary Dick Allen baseball. I love that. Dude, one of my favorite, if not favorite, baseball players of all time. Man, I love that Mitchell and Ness place. Hey, it's great. Right now, Howie's in the front office figuring out who the next coordinator is, what they're going to do in the draft. How much are they going to change the offense? How much do you think they changed the offense this year? How much? How much should they change it? Abe says 60%. You're going to change your offense. It just won you a Super Bowl and you ran people off the field and you dominated Kansas City. You're going to change your offense 60%? That's like telling me to change my identity. You're going to change the identity of the Eagles going into next year because why again? That is way too high. Dude, why in the world do you want to change what won you a Super Bowl? 30%? Me? I changed that thing because here's why. Follow along with me. Xander, I don't know if you'll agree with this. Here's why. Because you have so many offensive coordinator changes each and every single year, other year. Jalen's growth is going to continue to be at a smaller pace than some of the guys who have people in the building helping him become a better passer. I only want him to change the offense 5%. You know why? Because you have so much change with your coordinator. I don't know if the guy's going to be here next year. Why would I want him to get comfortable in a coordinator when nothing's been more uncomfortable than the offensive coordinator position in Philadelphia? You've got to think better and smarter than that. If you have so much change in your way of you doing business, it's effective. But how many times did you hear Hurts in the offseason saying, man, the offense was changed 95%? And they did. It turned out to be true. They changed the offense 95%. You know why? The season totals tell you they did. They changed the entire offense. Hurts wasn't lying. Man, this thing's changed about 95% new. He said it. So you're going to go back to changing it 95 or 65%? Because why? You want better passing numbers? Dude, I think 5 to 10%. Improve the passing game just a little more. I don't care if AJ bitches. I don't care if Devontae bitches. Fuck that. If it results in me going back to back, come on now. This is about the team here. This ain't about those guys getting their numbers. And see, here's what, again, wide receivers get paid on numbers. Players get paid on numbers. They don't get paid on wins. Nobody gets paid on wins. Look at the rest of the league. Everybody does. NFL football contracts are not predicated on wins. They're projections. You don't get paid for winning Super Bowls. Jalen wasn't paid for winning Super Bowls. He's, like a Ferrari, but played like a Ford. Shit. A Ford's a tough truck, dude. That didn't look like that to me, man. Okay? So here, the second topic. I wouldn't mind a voice from outside. And especially, here's why Frank is better than Kevin Patullo. Frank is a passing type guy, as Kellen was. He knows the organization and what they want. He's worked in it. He knows Nick. He knows what to say and not say at opportune times, and he's an easier transition and a better passing coordinator than Kevin Patullo is. He's a better OC. The only thing you're getting with Kevin is continuity and familiarity. Nobody would ever say that Kevin Patullo is a better offensive coordinator than Frank Reich. That's not true. Frank's the better coach, more accomplished coach. Kevin Patullo is familiarity and continuity. You tried that with Brian Johnson, and we're assuming that Kevin will be better than Brian. Well, Brian didn't do that poor job up in Washington with Jaden Daniels this year. They had actually a really good year. I mean, they hadn't won that many games in 25 years. Okay? This kept me up all night. People saying, swap Hurts with this guy or that guy. Watch what happens. Jalen Hurts would still be good in the right situation, like every quarterback. He would be good in Kansas City. Well, after the Super Bowl, I don't know. I mean, Patrick Mahomes looked like he was Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold played the game that Patrick Mahomes played as bad a game as Sam Darnold did. He looked like Sam Darnold. The Eagle defense made Patrick Mahomes look like Sam Darnold. That's what I saw. That thing was never. Sills, hasn't Frank been fired twice as a coordinator? No. I'm not asking him to be the head football coach of the Eagles, dude. I didn't ask him to be the head coach of the Eagles. Okay? I'm not. You're combining. Some guys are coordinators. Look at Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio is not a head coach. He's a terrible head coach. Nobody would ever hire Vic. He's got no interest from any NFL team of being a head coach. What's that tell you? You're talking about him being one of the best coordinators in NFL history. By the way, I completely disagree with John McMullen. McMullen doesn't look at resumes and accomplishments. I don't know about you, man. Four Super Bowl rings matters to me. If it matters to people about Jalen Hurts, and it matters to people about coaches and quarterbacks, it should matter that Steve Spagnuolo's got 4 Super Bowl rings. I don't know what you look at. Vic doesn't have the resume that Spags has or accomplishments. It's no disrespect. You're comparing him against the best coordinator in the game. I mean, surely accomplishments and resumes matter. Because if that's not what you're looking at, that's just an opinion. That's not reality. That's why, here's the difference between me and others. You build a resume up, I've got to acknowledge the resume. I'm not going to keep to my fucking opinion because I think this guy's better than that guy. That's irrelevant now. I'm a resume dude. Resumes matter. Accomplishments matter. Being in the moment and competing and winning matters. Not theories and opinions. You are what you do. You know? That shit about having an opinion. Hey, I'll take Lamar. I'll take Allen. Hey, that's all good a conversation, and I'm in that conversation. What about Hurts? Can't get around the fucking winning. You can't get around. What else could I say? Feels like, what do you accomplish? No shit. That's what it is. Man, hey, I think that Vic is a better coordinator than Spags. I would look at that and go, bro, this guy's got 4 Super Bowl rings and beat Brady in the Super Bowl and the undefeated football team with a 10-6 team and a defense that was considered okay. And he's got 4 rings. He's going to Canton. Vic's not. He's going to Canton. Nobody in a million years would ever say this year what Vic did is better than what they did in upsetting the Patriots in the Super Bowl and that 20-1 football team or 19-1 football team. Come on, man. Put some reality on it. Four Super Bowl losses. I'll take that over 1 win. Okay. I'd like to hear an outside voice like Frank. Okay, hey, no problem. I'll take the 4-time Super Bowl coordinator. All good. Bob Brown, by the way, supers go to the top, and if you've got something intelligent to say, we put it in here. Seals, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. Okay, well, I'm going to ask you, Bob, how much do you think they changed this offense in the offseason? Or do you think they changed this offense in the offseason? By the way, give me a total on the likes. Thank you, guys. The offense doesn't need to be changed, but the touches need to be diversified. Barkley doesn't need to have all those touches. He needs the right touches. Okay? I think the main reason people hate on Hurts is the eye test. It's not aesthetically pleasing to look at, but within this team, it's effective and it wins. Harv. All of that is true, but at the end of the day, I'm going to pick his resume up and go, okay, that's true, but this is truer. Folks, you can't get around accomplishments. There's no debating accomplishments. This guy, Lamar Jackson, is 10 times the athlete at the position of quarterback than Hurts is. Yes. Who's won more? Jalen. What are we talking about? Who's the better track star? Okay, it's Lamar. Who's won more? Jalen Hurts. You know what Nick Wright's doing? Well, the Kansas City Chiefs played their worst game in 5 years. It's a backhanded slap. I don't give a fuck about 5 years ago. In the context of you getting killed on Sunday. That is irrelevant. You want to talk resumes? Of course, Mahomes, his resume is legendary. It's a legendary resume. Yes. Okay? I'd like Frank Reich to be the coordinator. I'm not going to be a fan of Kevin Petula being elevated. Okay? I'm not. If Kevin Petula was in those meetings, he knows them. And to me, now here, if Kevin Petula changes the offense 5%, he's the right hire. If they want to throw the ball around and they want to do things differently and elevate the passing game, I'm not a fan of that. You need a more qualified coach in there that deals with passing. Who's Kevin Petula ever worked with? Has he ever worked with anybody like Phillip Rivers? Has he ever worked with anybody like that? Now, if you're going to say, well, we're going to try to elevate 5 to 10%, he's the right hire. He's the right hire. But if you want to elevate it, like some of you said, 60%, 70%, he ain't the right guy. What would he know? You're going backwards. Is Frank even interested in the OC job? Frank's got a lot of money on the table. Carolina owes him money, man. By the way, this hire is important to Hurts and the team's success. We saw it. We've seen it the last 4 years play out. It's a swing in the pendulum. It's like a seesaw. Seals, you increase Hurts PA to 25 to 30, or how you said, midseason, Lamar and Hurts, 20 to 23. Passing attempts to 25 to 30. I would be more 20 to 25-ish, 26-ish in there like that. I'd be in there on the increase. You have to improve the passing game. Because you know what? Hey, why do you believe the Eagles have to improve the passing game? You got to keep evolving. What is the number one thing Tom Brady said every year he had to learn? Playing the position of quarterback in the NFL. He had to keep evolving his game because guys were on my heels. Coordinators were always on my heels. I had to keep elevating and evolving. What was the biggest complaint about the 23 offense? It just never evolved out of the 22. You have to keep, dude, you got guys like Vic Fangio, Steve Spagnuolo, Brian Flores. You got coordinators like Robert Saleh. You got guys like that they see something and they're going to come up with an exotic defense. Todd Bowles owns the Eagles. You got a guy that keeps doing that. Okay? They have the answers. They come up with them. That's why some of these coordinators, hey, you can laugh all you want. Todd Bowles is 2-1 versus you. And again, beat you in the playoffs. Beat you soundly. His last 2 games against the Eagles, he's owned you. Would it be different now? Yeah, probably. I mean, but he's a good, keep evolving. Okay, so again, if you're going to improve the passing game, 5%, Kevin Patullo's your guy. But if you keep and you want to elevate it to some of you, like you said, 60%, he's the wrong hire. What would Kevin Patullo know about a passing game? Where's he ever been involved in that? In a high-tech passing game. Where's he ever been involved in that? I asked the question like this last time. Do you know what Kellen did? Kellen said after the bye, well, we're doing it this way. We're doing it this way. That's why he's the head football coach of New Orleans Saints. Okay? All right. Another topic. This is going to be, here we go. Xander will join us at the bottom of the hour. Give me a count where we are in the likes. By the way, super chats go to the top. We got a ton of topics today. I want to get to this one. Never thought I'd be here. Okay? Never thought I'd be here. 172, not bad. Guys, please hit that like button. I appreciate you guys a lot, man. Thank you very much. Your supers mean a lot to us here at JAKIB, and we so love you guys, and I do. By the way, great stuff by Xander and Big Z, Bigger Z. Krause, great job last night. I like that stand-up look, too. Keep it up, guys. Keep making the content. Off season is – we're in now the sill zone. I can tell you that, okay? All right. I never thought I'd be here. Howie Roseman. Here's my take on Howie Roseman. Is Howie building a Hall of Fame resume? Here are the guys that have been inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame that are GMs. Ozzie Newsome, more so as a player. Ozzie went on to be a great general manager with the Browns/Ravens. Gil Brandt, Tex Ram, revolutionized the NFL. These guys were so ahead of the game. Do you know, like, the flags that are on top of the flagpole? Tex Ram put those up there so that kickers can see where the wind's blowing. There were so many things that they did. They were innovators. Bill Polian built the great football teams in Buffalo, got that Super Bowl championship with the Colts. Bobby Beathard built the Washington Redskins into a powerhouse, was on the undefeated Dolphins in personnel, and helped build the Dolphin teams with those great Super Bowl teams. Greatest teams, in my opinion, in NFL history. 3 straight conference titles, 2 championships in a row, and one of those teams was undefeated. The Miami Dolphins of the mid-'70s is the greatest NFL team of all time. Their resume: 3 conference championships in a row, 2 titles in a row, and one of those were undefeated. You can't get around it. Resume. Ron Wolf, Green Bay Packers, Raiders. George Young helped build the great football teams of the New York Giants in the early 80s. Here's Howie, 2-time Executive of the Year, 17 and 22. 2-time Super Bowl champion. Why does Howie Roseman belong in that conversation with the rest of those guys? Like, do I think that Brett Veach will be a Hall of Fame guy because he's got 3 rings? I don't know. A lot to do with Andy Reid and how he set the formula up, not only in Philly, but also in Kansas City. I think you got to be more than just a general manager to get to Canton. What's the one significant thing that Howie is doing right now that's different from every other general manager? What's he do? All those guys did something different. Ron Wolf was a personnel guy. George Young did a great job in personnel. Bobby Beathard did a great job in finding older players, bringing them in, and drafting. Bill Polian, same way. Gil Brandt and Tex Ram, innovators. Gil Brandt invented scouting. Do you understand that? Gil Brandt invented scouting, along with Paul Brown. Invented. Here's why I think Howie has a shot at this. I'm trying to think around the league. Is there another man in the NFL right now? And again, I know this has a lot to do, and I agree with John McMullen on this. This has a lot to do with the owner. The owner is building this guy's resume up to being a Hall of Famer because of the latitude he gives him when it comes to the contracts and the structuring of the contracts. Would we not agree in the salary cap era that Howie Roseman, if you think that Scott Pioli, who was in New England, was an absolutely great general manager, how do you not think what he's doing by manipulating the contracts and the salary cap? And how well he does with that is not an innovator in today's NFL. The stuff that he does with these contracts is why the Eagles are champions. It's the biggest reason they are. What's that number, Xander, you gave me yesterday that Hurts' cap hit is going to be towards 2025? His contract started and kicked in 24. 19 million, is it? It's like fucking stupid. 19 million? The New York Giants are still paying money off of what they did with Daniel Jones. It's 21 million? Dude, that's nothing in today's landscape. 21 million for a $50 million quarterback? Dude, do you really want to know? Somebody gave this to me last night. Do you know signing Jalen Hurts to that contract with the cap hits, you know what it's equivalent to? Hurts making $25 million a year because of the latitude he gets in the cap space. You're basically got a $25 million quarterback and you're paying him $50 because of how you structured it. That's why he's got latitude to potentially get to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, is because of what he does in those contracts. You got to realize something, guys. This is Howie's season now. Last year was the coaching staff at Knicks. This is now Howie's ball game. From February 10th until September 8th, this is Howie's. This is Howie's game now. Building it, coordinator, free agency, structuring, restructuring, moving money around. Nick's got nothing to do with this. He's completely irrelevant in the landscape of things here. All he does is OTAs and minicamps. He got no say in this. This is Howie's ball game. Howie's not going to pick the talent. How many times in those press conferences does Nick Sirianni bring up Howie Roseman saying, Howie brings the guys in, they do a great job of scouting, and it's our job to develop them out there and make sure we're player development. How many times does he say that? Every press conference. This is his game. Okay? What Howie does from February 10th to September 8th dictates how well you'll do from September until February 9th. Right? Correct? The shit he does right now from February 10th until September 8th, start of the season, all of this is going to dictate how well you play from September 9th to February 9th. It's Howie season. Zach Bond. Hey, I hate to tell you this. I don't know who told you this. Gary Kopp ended up being right. Unless the Eagles come with a franchise tag, which they're not, of $24 million, Zach Bond's going to test free agency. So they better get on their horse now and start working a contract. And they probably are. And by the way, do I think Zach wants? No, I do not. Do I think he gets done? I do. But you would be stupid to devalue yourself by saying, don't worry, Howie, whatever you want to give me, I'll take. That's not how the player is going to act. That's not how the agent's going to act. Bond is going to want to get paid. You know what? I'll tell you this. If Zach Bond was 24 years old, I think there could be some hometown cooking. How about this? I'll even make this point to you. We made this point yesterday. You can't have the highest guy in the front seven making $51 million, and you come in and offer him less than $17 million. So Zach Bond's going to line up making $12 million like we said yesterday, knowing full well you got a guy and Bryce Huff that's sitting the bench making $17.5. That's fucking insane. It's insulting. Cap's going up to $275 million as well. I mean, you got to think clearer than this. Man, you got to be around that 60 number. But this is where Howie Roseman is building his resume for the Hall of Fame. Hey, Zach, I'll tell you what we'll do here. We'd like to have your base salary at around $14.5. So we'll give you the money up front. Jeffrey Lurie parachutes in and says yes, signs off on it. And before you know it, you got $30 million in the bank. Fuck, I'll take it. 14, all comes out at the end, but we got a lower base? Sure, I don't care. Man, I don't like promise money. I want money in the bank, dude. Yeah, I mean, dude, if I had a gold pen for every dollar people promised me, I wouldn't be here with you. I would not be here with you. Hey, on February 12th, do I think the Bond deal? Yeah, I do. But the agent's not going to play that game. We got great insight. I double-checked with Gary. I go, was the agent and Bond? He goes, yeah, I talked to both of them. As of right now, and by the way, you can say it on February 12th. You have all the way until March 17th where you can negotiate in public like this. I wouldn't get bent out of anything. Hey, whatever is being said, I wouldn't get bent out of shape. Guys, hit the like button. Xander's going to join us in a couple minutes. Mark Holmes, I can't wait to kick his ass. That idiotic comment from Dak Prescott. I mean, he thinks they're next? How? Where? Could Frank be interested in the quarterback coach? Coaching position fundamentals like Stoutland. Frank could be the best quarterback coach, adding stability to the room. I don't personally think offensive coordinator or quarterback coach would matter to Frank at all, working with Nick. He loves Nick. They're best friends. I don't care what the position would be. Coordinator or not, passing coordinator. I know they want him in some role in the org. The owner loves him. Do you want Devontae Smith type contract? Sure. Now, he doesn't have any kind of option thing in this. He's an unrestricted free agent. Dude, you cannot put a premium on all the stupid, idiotic football teams like the Jets that are in the league and stupid owners like Woody Johnson. How much do you think the Jets would pay for him? Just you and me here. How much do you think the Jets would pay for Zach Bond? $25 million? How much do you think they would? They easily could be the stupidest organization in football. How much do you think they pay? I think they pay between 20 and I think they get into a bidding war. You know why? That guy plays Madden. Remember what he said? Well, Judy didn't have a really high Madden rating. That's why we didn't make the trade. Dude, sit back and count Band-Aids because that's all you're good at. You're not good at looking for talent. Get out of the way, Woody Johnson. This guy knows Band-Aids, and this guy knows toothpaste. He don't know football. I mean, fuck. I played Madden the other night with my kid, and the kid said Jerry Jeudy didn't have a great rating, so that's why we didn't make the trade. Okay, good. Hey, wow. All right. And that's the guy that's in your draft room? Man. How many people would like to punch that guy in the face in New York? Woody Johnson is the reason the Jets blow. It's because of the way that guy does business. Look at Jerry Jones, same thing. That shit's stupid, how they do business and how they believe that. Prescott got that mentality from somewhere. You know where he got it from? I think when you put that helmet on sometimes, you know what it does? It clouds your judgment. Dude, just because you wear a star don't mean you are a star. I mean, the Eagles went out and proved they were stars. You prove you wear a star. I mean, yeah, it's like brainwashing. All of a sudden, you put that helmet on and you lose reality. Hey, I'm a big TV star. Look at Micah Parsons. Like a big old podcast star now. Bro, you're a football player. Not a fucking podcast star. It's like, you're like back in the day. Remember that helmet? Kazoo put his helmet on the Jetsons or shit. I think it was the Jetsons. Put that big old helmet on. It's like, when I see Dak, I think of Kazoo. I mean, it's way too old of a commercial or a cartoon for some of you, but the guy looks like Kazoo with that helmet on. I heard him. I was embarrassed when I heard him talking, and I liked that. Xander and I were talking. I like Dak Prescott, but hey, Kazoo Prescott's an idiot. Xander, do me a favor before you come on. Google Kazoo. And you'll see a little green guy with a big old helmet on. I was like, that looks like Dak Prescott. He's all stupid and shit. I was like, man, you think like that? I'm 9-4 against Hurts. You know what Jalen did on Sunday with that 9-4? Even me now. And 9-4 is so not a factor. I don't care what you are. Remember I used to say that to you? Hey, we beat Mahomes in the regular season last year. And I'm like, who cares? Now it matters. You're 2-2 in Super Bowls and regular season against one another. That shit now all matters with him. You understand? Hey, Josh Allen beats Patrick Mahomes in the regular season. But the postseason, he's 0-4. What are we talking about here? What are we talking about? Dak, man, that was embarrassing. I mean, it's our turn next. No, it ain't. Where's your run game? Where's your O-line? Where's your D tackles? Mozzie Smith blows. Dude, Ojomo's a better player than Mozzie Smith. When that's a factor, you got a problem. Thomas Booker's better. Thomas Booker is a better player than Mozzie Smith. The Eagles' second team DTs are better. Yeah, he looks like the great Kazoo on the Jetsons, that big old helmet. Guy's stupid, man. Talking shit like that. Yeah, we're really, we go head to head with the Eagles. So wait a minute. You play well against the Eagles in a regular season, but when you get to the postseason, Hurts is 6-3, and you're nobody in the postseason, and you're comparing yourself? Dude, you need to compare yourself. If I were Dak, here's who you compare yourself to. You compare yourself to, who's the quarterback in Atlanta right now? Just got his job taken from him. Kirk Cousins. Dak, you're Kirk Cousins. He's white, you're black. The only difference. The only thing that's different, because everything else about you is the same. You're Dak Prescott's Kirk Cousins, and he wears the star. That's it. If Kirk wore the star and he was in Dallas, he'd beat Dak Prescott. Kirk Cousins is the white Dak Prescott. I don't know what else to say. And they didn't even like him. They went up Michael Penix in the draft. We really like you. Here, let me show you a dumb organization. Tell me if you think the Atlanta Falcons are stupid. So you give a guy $48 million. You owe that money to him for the next 3 years in cap hits, and you draft a quarterback in the first round. Tell me again what? Why again? Dude, I get you're looking for your future. So you're thinking a $48 million quarterback. You know who's a gap quarterback? Sam Darnold to J.J. McCarthy in Minnesota. That made sense. What was it, $10 million they gave him? $14 million, whatever it was? Far cry from 48. Atlanta's dumb. That's dumb. Atlanta will overpay for Zach Bond. Hey, by the way, Bond is a candidate to go to any one of those NFC South teams. Why? Look how close they are. They all suck. Bucks. Hey, Bucks with Todd Bowles, Tampa. Oh, and by the way, no state income tax. If I'm Zach Bond, be on the lookout for any team from Texas and also from Florida. Why? Agents don't like taxes. Remember something. I signed Zach Bond to a $60 million deal, and I'm making 10% off him. That's a $6 million check stroke to my age. How you doing? How you doing? 90 million? 9 million right here to me. Think I'm going to send him and give Howie a fucking deal when it's taking money out of my family's pocket? I'm the agent. I'm not doing that. Well, it's Philly. The only way you step in is if the player steps in. We're not doing that. No, we're not doing that. Okay? That deal's going to be harder than you think. Now, here, I will say this. You got the right guy negotiating, and he's not going to treat Zach the way he treated Reddick. You go back to 2 years and you look at what happened with those two linebackers you had. 23 was a train wreck. You're not going down that route again. You want to be frugal, but you want to be fair. You're not winning the Super Bowl if Zach Bond's not on your team. That's what's in his favor. Here are the guys on your football team. You're not winning the Super Bowl if they're not on your team. Bond, Hurts, Brown, Barkley, Carter. Those are your Super Bowl impact players. Those are the guys that you're like, yeah, Mulata maybe too. Mulata's better than Lane now. But we're talking about two premier players. A plus, A2. I mean, but he's younger, and he's going to continue. He's continuing to get better. Okay? DeJean and Q are all good players. We'll see how they look like over the next. Hey, you got to a Super Bowl lost by 3 points with Bradbury and Slay playing. Could be win-win for Reich. Less responsibility developing quarterbacks. More. Carolina and the Eagles could add quarterback to O-line factory. Contract offsets often give more Carolina money to offset lower quarterback coaches' pay. No, what they'll do is it'll go out like this, Matt D. If they still owe Frank $8 million, say, Eagles offer him $2 million. Carolina still has to pay him $6 million. That's how that's structured up in Washington with Cliff Kingsbury, who's making money still off that Cardinals football team. Okay, he's still getting paid by the Bidwells. And I think that was a $7 million deal too annually. I think he's got one more year next year on it. And so if he made, say, $2.5 million with the Commanders, it would go 5.5 or whatever, 5. And he made 2.5 up in Washington. That means that Arizona is on the hook for $5 million still. It offsets that way. So that's how teams, if you want to, that's why if Frank wants to sit on the beach, he's still going to make $8 million sitting on the beach, not doing anything. Now, how much does Frank want to get back into the game? Dude, the Eagles offered him an opportunity last year to be a consultant, and he turned it down. He didn't want to do it. Would you go after Fowler from Washington? I like Dante Fowler. I think Dante Fowler has really, it depends on the money, man. It just depends on the dough. Hit the like button, guys. We'll get Xander up here in a minute. Don't forget also our guy, Mark. I can't wait to talk to Mark. I can't wait to see Philly 500. He's probably going to have cigars and shit. How's Mark going to handle? Boy, this is going to be the worst appearance for Mark Holmes you can imagine, man. That'll be at 4:30. Ray Dininger will join us. Also at 5:30, we're looking forward to that, having him aboard with us. That'll be there at 5:30. Let's say this again. How important is this coordinator hiring? Okay? Exactly. So if the quarterback coach is less than OC, he gets larger offset from Carroll. Frank can't lose. Matt D, he can't lose because of the money that he's getting from Carolina. No, he can't lose. He still owed $8 million. Okay? He still owed a ton of money, man. We're going to go back here a little bit here, though. And I was listening a little bit to Xander. He's going to be down there at the parade on Friday, which is going to be dope. I hope we get some call-ins. Hey, anytime that you're involved in a parade like that, the logistics of setting up shit like that, unless the team like WIP is going to have a great setup. Why? Well, that's the flagship. That's why you're the flagship. And how much money do you think WIP pays the Eagles to broadcast and have those rights to have that stage? You know what the number is? It's $4 million a year. Okay. 97.5 ain't going to be set up down there. They're going to have people walking around because that shit's off limits. That's why you have rights fees. It's like $4 million they pay to have the Eagles on that network. And there's old Xander rolling around down there. Hey, I can't wait. All right. All that being said, a great time of the year. You got a parade coming up. Hit that like button, bitches. We appreciate all of you. I hate him for what he did last night. He had me go on that Mitchell and Ness stupid thing. I can't get off that website. I saw that Dick Allen jersey there, man. I was like, holy shit. They got some really great stuff, man. I saw some kick-ass jackets down there too, man. All that. Without further ado, please hit that like button. Do me a favor. Welcome aboard here. Our friend from Birds 365. He's now officially screaming at both John and me now. He is Big Z, Xander Krause.
What's up, Big Sills? How you doing, brother?
How you doing, man? How you feeling, man? You're getting
feeling good, bro.
Big day.
Yeah, man, I'm feeling good. I'm fighting off you and John left and right. I'm slashing you guys left and right, breaking you down at the kneecaps, chopping them down each day here as the Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions.
Yeah. Look at him, man. He's just basking in his glory now. New lid every day right now. You should be,
listen,
man. Well
this
earned,
team
man.
has ultimately achieved the highest goal. They are the king of the mountain. Nobody can take that from them ever in their life, no matter what happens. And they've earned it. I'm most excited, obviously, as I've said, for the great people of Philadelphia. They deserve this, people. They deserve this win. And I'm looking forward to everything we got going on. But I'm happy you were on Mitchell and Ness. You think the website's good? You should see the flagship store. That's their flagship store in Philly. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Next time you fly into Philly, maybe it might be once in the next 14 years of your life. But next time you do, I'll bring you over. I'll bring you over to the store. You know what? I'll even pick you up an old retro Eagle something on the house. All right, on the house.
See, be prepared, folks, because every segment now, moving forward, there's going to be a subtle kick in the nuts by this guy. The entire 6 months. Remember, the entire 6 months.
I'm not going to beat you up that long, but I am going to remind you often. I am going to remind you often about what the team accomplished.
Hey, absolutely here. How important do you think this signing is of this offensive coordinator moving into the offseason here? It's got to be the number one priority moving forward right now, no?
Yeah, I happen to be in your ballpark on this, all right? I happen to agree with you 100%. Obviously, Zach Bond, some of the free agents are fun to talk about, but, the reason I think this is so important is because you have a real window here. Even the people who are the most critical of the Philadelphia Eagles look at this team and they're like, there's a big window right here. The big window right here. So if you don't get this right, you're going to blow a year in a key window. All right. So I think you got to get it right. I like an older guy here, but I understand Patullo. I really do, because like you said, you just won a Super Bowl. You don't really need a major infusion, right? You could use an incremental increase. Like you said, 5-10% better in the passing game, whatever that might be. So I understand the Patullo thing, but I will say, we've had two instances of this where you promote from within. In 2018, I believe we promoted from within with Doug, and he promoted, I believe that's when he promoted, what did he promote after Frank? Was that Press Taylor?
Press Taylor.
Was that who it was?
I believe it was.
And then in 23 with Brian Johnson. So I understand if the owner doesn't want to go that route, but I will.
And by the way, he loves Frank.
No, it wasn't Press Taylor. It was Mike Groh. Mike Groh. That's who it was. Thank you. I knew it was. I knew it wasn't Press Taylor, because Press Taylor is who it was supposed to be after Mike Groh left. That's when Doug said, "I want Press Taylor." I knew it was. I thought Press Taylor was wrong. But no, those are the two instances. So you had Mike Groh and you had, Brian Johnson. Maybe the owner looks at that and is like, look, here's the last 5 offensive coordinators for the Eagles. Ready? Frank Reich, Super Bowl. Mike Groh, failure. Shane Steichen, Super Bowl appearance. Brian Johnson, failure. Kellen Moore, Super Bowl win. So maybe the owner looks at that and is like, all right, of the last 5, the 2 we brought from outside, the 3 we brought from outside the room, we had way more success with than the 2 we promoted from within. Maybe.
Don't forget, Nick was the first 6 games OC in 21 also. He called the plays until he gave it up to Shane, and he was 2-4 in that process.
I remember when Marty Morningweg was the offensive coordinator. His son was the quarterback at St. Joe's Prep, the high school.
Killer, man. But here, then that goes to the second question. Do you think it's beneficial to Hurts and the team to be outside and go outside, or to stay and go from within? And here, like I pointed out, Kevin Patullo is the perfect hire if you're going 5 to 10% and you want to improve the passing game. If you're looking at overhauling the passing game in the offseason, what the fuck does Kevin Patullo know about a passing game? Name me where he's been a top flight coordinator somewhere in developing a quarterback as the offensive coordinator.
He's never been that.
He's never done that.
No, he's never done that.
But what he has done is he has worked with what they did a year ago now, and he's worked with Jalen inside that sandbox. And if you're asking him to jump out of that sandbox, aren't you basically doing the same thing and asking somebody to come in here like Brian Johnson? Hey, I want you to improve the passing game. Hey, dude, how many times last year or in 23 did Kelsey and the entire team, Lane and all them, go, run the ball, run the ball? They never went back to running it. I mean,
yeah, I don't know. I think this is a little different.
Higher, man.
I think this is a little different than those other circumstances. Like, I'd feel, to be honest with you, maybe I'm just riding a Super Bowl high. I wouldn't be upset if they hired Kevin Patullo, because I don't think reinventing the wheel at this point is even necessary. You know, I think you want to add to it, but
so Kevin you don't Patullo, believe there's going to be an increase in the?
No, I believe there's going to be.
How much do you think they're going to try to change the offense this offseason?
I don't think they're going to try and change it too much. I think they're going to try and add to it. You know, they want to be more efficient in the passing game, or at least, you know, whatever that looks like. So I don't know. I'm not going to be upset if it's Kevin Patullo. I think it's going to be Kevin Patullo. They got to go through the whole process. They got to, you know, do all the things you have to do when you're hiring a new coach. So they're going to do all of those things. Maybe somebody wows them in an interview. Jeffrey Lurie is probably going to make the final say, for being honest. All right. And I feel all right, though. I don't think Kevin Patullo is going to be a bad hire. Him and Kellen Moore were super buddy, apparently. Kellen Moore might even interview for him for offensive coordinator in New Orleans because they worked super well together. And remember, Kellen's going to be the play caller there, so he might like an offensive coordinator that's, you know, hey, I'm right in your ear, but I'm not overtaking you. So that's interesting. You know, I think could force the Eagles' hand, right? Because remember, Kevin Patullo is also Sirianni's right-hand man, and he's been Sirianni's right-hand man for a while. So, in other words, if I don't promote Kevin Patullo, I lose Kevin Patullo. That might force the Eagles' hand, if you get what I'm saying.
Yes,
right? They might be like, let's just promote him here and give him the job here. So we'll see what they end up doing. But overall, I think you're still in a good spot there, because I think the offense can, you know, I think this is a talent-driven offense, right? You look at the 49ers team, that's a scheme-driven offense. That's that's what Kyle Shanahan does. You look at the Rams offense, they rely on creative play calls to be great. You look at the Eagles offense, it's not complex. It's not. They're just good players. They're good players, and they bully you. So you improve on that, I think, in incremental ways, but I don't think it's this crazy thing that you have to reinvent.
It's got to evolve.
What's that?
It's got to evolve. I mean,
it's got to. Why?
Okay, because every single coordinator will catch up to what you're doing, because these guys are so great. And Todd Bowles, man. Anytime they line up against him, Todd Bowles got your number. He's a pretty damn good coordinator, man. I'm not saying Todd Bowles is going to win a Super Bowl, but I don't ever remember Todd Bowles having a bad game against Philly. What did Brady say his entire career? The number one thing I had to do as a player was every year watch film and evolve my game. Because if I didn't evolve my game, these coordinators catch me all the time. There was a 10-year span in the middle of their two dynasties where Brady didn't get back to that game because he was, again, Xander, if you think you can do the same thing over and over.
No, I'm not saying that. You're right. But my point is that every year there's going to be a natural level of evolution, whether you're the same coordinator or not. That's just how football goes. You're not the same player year in and out, and even week in and week out. So I think you have to evolve naturally. Look at 22, 23, and 24. Every year it's looked different. Every year it's looked different based on the personnel, based on what you needed each player to do. And I don't think it's like I said, I don't think this is entirely scheme based. I think you look at Jalen Hurts, you understand what his skill set is. You come in here, you rely on the big boys up front. You try and improve the passing game. I think they can easily improve in the passing game a little bit. Give Jalen a little bit simpler concepts in terms of underneath stuff. Stop so much deep, long developing routes. Continue with the go balls in terms of, when you have man coverage or a blitz is coming. And I think they can build on it from there. I don't think it's something to worry about right now.
Okay.
But I do agree with you that the hiring of the guy is a very important thing. I do agree with you. You got to get the right guy in the room. If you don't get the right guy in the room, or that's almost the one thing I wonder about a guy on the outside. Are you going to try and change up too much when you don't need to at this moment?
Okay. Let me ask you this. What was the difference between Vic in Miami and Vic in Philly?
Players.
Players?
And I think even
And
more
buying in.
Buying in. That was my next comment. Yep, buying in. The players in Miami didn't want to play Vic's scheme.
Okay.
You
Right.
know? The players in Philly were like, Vic,
somebody
you
from
tell me
outside.
where, and I go in there.
You bring somebody from outside that's got a different opinion on how you want to do things, like Cliff Kingsbury wanted to, that may not work. You know what I mean? I mean, this has got to – that's why I think they feel more comfortable elevating from within, because they don't want to upset. See, the only reason Kevin Patullo makes sense is continuity, and you have that continuity and familiarity to it. Okay? What can he possibly do in elevating a passing game?
I don't want to. I mean, just because he hasn't done it once doesn't mean. I mean, everybody's got to start
You've
somewhere.
been down that route with Brian.
Yeah, I know you have. I mean, that's fair. I think it's a different team now. I think it's a different. I mean,
I'm talking about him, not the team.
The 22 coming off of 22 is a lot different than coming off of 24, though.
Okay, how?
22, you were RPO based. All right, you relied on Jalen Hurts and most of those. In 24, you were a run-based team with Saquon Barkley. Now, there was still some RPO, but you weren't an RPO team. You were a run-based
RPO team in the NFC title game and the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and it worked. But isn't that kind of the point, that you're going to evolve based on each game, based on each moment, based on what you need to do in any given game? So that's why I wonder. Kevin Patullo is not too much change. If you throw in a whole new wrench, and now Jalen's learning a whole new system and all.
There's no wrong answer on February 12th here. There's no. I mean, it's going to be interesting.
I agree that you want to get the right hire in here. Now, someone asked, why is Xander saying Kevin Patullo is going to be gone if he doesn't get promoted? I'm not saying that. Kellen likes him a lot. So Kellen wants to interview him to be the offensive coordinator in New Orleans. That's an upgrade at position. So
that's right.
Patullo could take that job. That's what I was saying.
And if I know that I have a great relationship and we think alike and shit, I'm going to hire that. By the way, all supers will be red. No, folks. I'm not telling you that Kevin is – I'm just giving you an opinion on how I think he fits in. If they're not going to change the offense – and they're going to go probably 5 to 10% in the passing game and try to elevate the passing game, he's the perfect hire.
I think that's it.
But if they go like 30, 40%, you need a passing guy to roll in there, man.
I agree.
The guy who has –
and I don't think, by the way, I don't think Frank's realistic because of this. He's 63 and he's making how many $1 million a year? Are you going to take a pay cut? Get rid of guaranteed money you have coming in, move to a new city – where he's only spent 2 years here. Like, it's not like Vic Fangio was born and raised here or grew up around here. You know, this is kind of like, hey, I'm going home for the end of my career. This is a perfect scenario. You're going to tell me a 63-year-old guy is going to give up $6 million a year to take $3.5 million and move to Philly? I don't see it.
It don't work like that. What it does is that he's making $8 million. If he gets hired for $2.5 million in Philly, then they take that $2.5 million off the $8 million. And Carolina's on the hook for the remainder of that money. Plus, he gets the $2.5 million to come up to $8 million. That's how Cliff Kingsbury.
So he still gets that money regardless.
That's how Kingsbury's being paid. He's still being paid like $5 million from Arizona, and he's making $2.5 million up there in Washington. So it's still $7.5 million.
Here's a good point by our guy Philadelphia. Xander, no matter what coordinator we get, we've proven it's more of our team that's been successful, not the coordinators. They go other places and fail. Correct, Killa.
That's not really facts, because last year or 23, your coordinators failed. Well, and the team didn't win.
The team failed. The coordinator was scapegoated. Brian Johnson had the number 8 offense in the NFL.
Any way you want to look at it. Any way you want to look at it. You can say whatever. At the end result, it didn't go where you wanted it to go because you were 10-1 at one time during the season. So you could say it was the players. You could say it was the coordinators. All I know is it didn't match. Players and coordinators did not match that year. Okay? So, again, the hiring of this guy is going to be interesting to see and how much they want to improve the passing game because that's how the offense has been built. How about this year, Xander? I wrote these guys as the top 5 potential threats to the Philadelphia Eagles in 2025. I've got the Rams at 5. By the way, this is why I love the Rams. The Rams are continuing to
These are your top 5 NFC threats?
NFC threats.
Oh, I like that.
LA Rams, the Niners, Green Bay, Detroit, and Washington. Let me start with the Rams first. I think the Rams have done a spectacular job at drafting also. They're magicians also at moving around the cap and signing guys. That's how they won that Super Bowl. I think without a question that you got a great play calling head coach in Sean McVay. The question, in my opinion, is what are you going to do with Matthew Stafford?
Yeah.
See, to me, Stafford, I mean.
And they're getting rid of Cup. I don't know. I feel like the Rams are about to go in the wrong direction.
I mean, well, it depends who they remember. He replaced Goff with Stafford. They won a Super Bowl. So my question is, where and what are you going to do in Los Angeles? How is that going to look in LA? Hey,
LA's not scaring me too much, but I agree with having them 5.
The year they replaced Goff, they won the Super Bowl.
You don't think the Vikings are anything, do you?
I don't believe J.J. McCarthy's going to be.
I don't know. I've never seen a guy play in the NFL, but I agree with you. When I look at him, I don't see it. But, hey, I was wrong about Bo Nix. I looked at Bo Nix, and I'm like, I don't really see it, and he's playing pretty well. You know, I looked at other quarterbacks, and I didn't think Baker Mayfield was going to be as good as he's been. So I don't want to write him off yet, but, yeah, I don't see it.
Here's what I look at with Minnesota. Minnesota reminds me of the NFC's version of the Miami Dolphins. They just don't look very tough. You can't get your ass kicked like that. I mean, the Eagles, I made a point. The Eagles look so good in that Super Bowl. They made Patrick Mahomes look like Sam Darnold in that game. And there was a physicality the last 2 games of the year, the regular season game and then that wild card game against the Commanders. They just got fucking beat up, dude. I mean, they just got beat up.
They also had Pumpkin Darnold.
I mean, Darnold's going to be like a very hotly sought after.
What do you think he's going to get paid, Darnold?
$50 million.
Oh my gosh!
They gave
Sammy Darnold for 50 M's.
They gave.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
Cousins 48.
Oh man,
I know.
Sammy Darnold.
What are you making the Rams?
Huh?
What are you making the Rams?
I think the Rams are going in the wrong direction, man. I don't think you can move off of Stafford as easy as you moved off from Goff. Now, maybe they can. I do like Sean McVay. I'm a Sean McVay guy. I do like his approach, but I don't know, man. You're losing Stafford, losing Cup. Now, they do have a good youth movement. They got all those dudes on defense, those young guys on defense. They got Puka Nacua. But outside of Nacua, who are they looking at receiver?
They're going to draft a wideout.
They're going to have to draft a wideout. They'll probably hit again late rounds. They've been pretty good in the draft, honestly, the Rams. I mean, they all of their draft picks last year were excellent. Dude, after Puka. Kitchens, Fisk, and Verse. All of those guys were excellent this year. So they've been drafting really well, but I just don't see it with the quarterback. And didn't they already float out their trade in Stafford, right? They put that out there. They're trading them.
They don't know what they're doing right now. I'm not sure restructuring. I just think Stafford, you've seen it, man. But is there anybody out there that Sean McVay and the Rams would be willing to give up a bounty for to try to bring a guy in that an organization would be willing to move? You're not moving any of the top 5 guys. I don't think. You're not moving Burrow. You're not moving any of those dudes. You're not moving Herbert. Would the Chargers consider moving Herbert and putting him over with the Rams?
So.
I
Why are you
mean,
going to get rid of Herbert? He's not the problem there.
I'm just shit. I'm spitballing here.
Although he did have 4 picks. That was pretty ugly. But I mean, look, I like to make fun of Justin Herbert too for 4 picks. His number 1 was Lad fucking McConkey. I mean, he's a slot wide receiver.
No, I like him a lot. By
Who?
the way, Ray Didinger just totally confirmed. He says we'll see us at 5:30.
Oh, so. Ray Didinger says you work with Ray Didinger. He don't miss a beat. He got the email early. He checks in. I got the email. Thank you so much. See you. Blah blah blah. Ray Didinger don't miss, bro. He'll be here.
That's fantastic, man. By the way,
I'm looking forward to that interview, bro. I think you guys are going to be great together.
Hey, I got to tell you, man, every single person, did you see, or even Merrill Reese, everyone wanted to hear Merrill. I was really thankful.
Dude, he got like 15,000 views on the channel.
I can't believe that. Yeah, that's really fantastic.
One guy in the world I know who knows as much, not more, as much football as Big Sills. And that's Ray Didinger. This is the encyclopedia. And he's already confirmed, everybody, he is updating because this is the Champions Edition. So he wrote this in like 2016. And then he made a Champions Edition that included the championship years, right?
Okay.
The championship year with Nick Foles. Now he already confirmed on our Pat Callahan show a couple of weeks ago that he has started writing the Jalen Hurts era of Philly, and he's going to update it again now that we officially have won the Super Bowl. So he said that before the Super Bowl, if they win again, I'm going to be updating it. So he's going to update it, but you're going to love him because when you talk to someone,
well, this is my first time talking to him.
I know, and whenever I hear you talk to somebody who knows football, it's always an amazing conversation. That's why I think you and Marcus Hayes hit it off so well, because both of you guys are kind of an encyclopedia for different knowledge, and you both have different takes, but you know so much, and you can go back and forth. So I think you and Ray are going to be really good together.
Marcus is on tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah. We got them all, man. I'm really happy that everybody, as soon as I asked, they went.
Yeah, show's been killing it this week after the Super Bowl.
Absolutely here. Let me ask you another one here. What about San Francisco as a threat to the Eagles in the NFC?
Yeah, I just don't like their quarterback situation. What are they going to do with Brock Purdy right now?
What's wrong
Also,
with Brock Purdy?
They're a little bit in cap hell. They haven't structured their contracts correctly. We talk about this all the time.
They told Debo to seek a trade.
Told Debo to get the heck out of here because they don't know how to manage cap at all. We talked about this yesterday with Howie Roseman and the cap. All right. Howie Roseman, by the way, people look in our cap in the future and they're like, oh, this is coming up. Cap dollars today are worth more than they will be in the future. All right. So 25 million today is going to be significantly less in the future. The cap is exploding 20 million plus a year right now.
Cap's not the issue in Philly.
No, that's not the issue in Philly at all. What I'm saying is that's the issue in San Francisco.
But what's the issue with Bond is open market value for him.
Yeah, I'm not. No, that's a different point. You asked me about San Francisco.
That's right.
I was saying they're in cap.
I'm not really saying. I'm saying in the offseason, he has a lot. This is Howie's time from February 10th until September 8th.
It's Howie's season.
This is Howie's world, right?
It's Howie's world, and we're just living.
You know what, Sandra? The point you have to keep making to people, if you want to be sitting there on February 9th, again with another Super Bowl, all the things that we're going to talk about from February 10th until September 8th, and then when you kick it off September 9th, this is going to determine whether or not you win the Super Bowl now.
Yeah, right.
Because your team was built in the offseason. It's not built in the regular season.
Don't have cap issues. Hogan, are you kidding me? They're getting Debo out of there, and they got to deal with Brock Purdy coming up.
Hey, Hollywood, when you know that you have to get rid of a player like Debo Samuel, just like what Buffalo did last year by having to exit $65 million off of their cap, when you see good players leaving rosters, there's only one reason that they're doing that. Is because they can't afford that player. What did they have to do to Javon Hargrave? They want Hargrave back, but you know what they told him? We can't pay you 20.
No.
And I don't know about you, man. If you can't pay some of these guys, then that's cap issues. So here's my take on the Niners. They're older. McCaffrey what's he going to look like? Trent Williams, what's he going to look like? What are you going to do in the middle of that defensive line position? By the way, getting rid of Eric Armstead was a fucking massive mistake by them letting him go to Jacksonville.
I know.
That was terrible.
Your Walter Payton Man of the Year winner.
And a guy who kept the dogs off of Fred Warner and Dre
I
Greenlaw.
know.
I mean, it was
And Greenlaw's probably leaving there too, isn't he? Isn't Dre Greenlaw a free
because
agent?
they're not going to re-sign him to the
Yeah,
money.
he's a free agent too, dude. They're not in good shape.
Dude, they let that guy Eric Armstead out of the building, and he had a really good year this year for them.
And also, here's the other thing the 49ers haven't done. The 49ers have not drafted well. And remember when we were all last year when they made the Super Bowl, we're like, wow, look at how they overcame trading 3 picks for Trey Lance. Well, you're starting to see that bear out of being a problem now, all right? They didn't win the Super Bowl last year. They lost. They fell into relative obscurity this year, and now they have a bleak future because they haven't hit on picks. Ricky Pearsall looks okay. Game changer? I don't see it. Game changer? I don't see it. You got a quarterback issue with Brock Purdy. Do you want to play him?
He got shot in the offseason.
That's true.
Hey, he did take a bullet. You know, I want to give the kid a shot, even though he's a Gator. I mean, he did take a shot. You know what I mean?
That's true. At least you didn't put the Cowboys on the list, and you would have been as delusional as Dakota Prescott.
I had a post that on my private thing there, and I'm like, where in the world do you understand? Look what Sunday did too. Remember that old 9-3 and 9-4 record mattered. Now it's irrelevant. Okay, it's completely irrelevant. You're talking consolation prizes versus the ultimate prizes, the NFC titles and a Super Bowl. Do you understand all of that 9-4? It's hyperbole now. It's just chatter. It doesn't matter anymore.
I think it showed you what he strives for.
No, what it is he's trying to validate that $60 million
well, that's
deal.
right. There's always an element of that, but I mean, that dude has literally 2 playoff wins. Jalen Hurts had 4 playoff wins this season. Okay? This season, he had 4 playoff wins. Jeez. So Dak Prescott is so infatuated with the fact that he has beaten the Eagles in the regular season that he looks at them and says, oh, no, we're good. We beat them in the regular season. Oh, no, it's all good. Normally when I play the Eagles, I beat them. That's all he cares about.
Guys, just because you wear the star doesn't mean you are one. Okay? I mean it.
Emmitt Smith should get down there and start slapping them boys silly in that locker room.
You notice how those 90s Cowboys talk about the current Cowboys? How about when we get Tony Casillas on? These guys don't know what they're doing.
Dude, Tony Casillas goes unleashed.
He rips them a new one. Tony's got 2 rings, and he's like, that ain't.
Yeah, let me ask you something. Would you trade for Micah Parsons if you're Howie?
No.
You don't like the player?
No.
I don't like the way he is, but I think
I don't like the way he conducts himself off the football field.
I don't either. But, I do wonder if the Eagles have such a great
Bro, if you're going to go there, give me Miles. I'll go. If you want to do that, give me that.
Well, Micah Parsons is how old? Miles is 29.
Yeah, well, that guy don't play the run. That guy does.
Miles Garrett does everything. I'm happy a lot of people are saying no. I mean,
hey, Micah Parsons versus Myles Garrett for the next 3 years. I mean, you'd look like the Ravens, like the defense, the Ravens defense. And plus, boy, bro, you might lose 4 games.
Parsons would be better in Philly
4 years
than in Dallas, though. Parsons would be good.
Better. Parsons would.
No, he said he would be better in Philly than he is in Dallas.
Maybe, but I think he's a distraction.
I do too. I agree. I just wonder if our culture is good enough to be able to handle it.
Let me ask you this: how many players on defense do you think are self-absorbed outside of maybe? But you know what? I'm going to not say Slay because you know why? All I hear players talking great things about him and coaches talking great things about him.
I agree.
So I'm going to leave that alone. Maybe one player on that team that talks in the second person or the third person.
None of them. And that's why they're all so bought into Vic Fangio's system. I mean, Vic Fangio's system is not a system that's conducive to personal stats. It's not. Remember Fletcher Cox a couple years ago when Jonathan Gannon got here? He's like, I don't want to do this. I don't want a 2-gap. What am I doing here? Fletcher Cox eventually bought in, but that's what it takes. I mean, you have to be bought in. And I don't even think it's just a defense thing. I know you have a little bit of antics, I guess, from A.J. Brown, which I don't really care, by the way. He wears his emotions on his sleeve. Welcome to Philadelphia.
I never said he did. Well. His talent is insane. By the way, Matt Patricia got the new DC job in Columbus. He's the new defensive coordinator of Buckeyes.
Is he?
Yeah.
Matt Patricia?
Matt Patricia got the defensive coordinator job. He'll be in the NFL again next year. Same way.
Is that the stiff who oversaw our downfall last year?
Yes, it is.
I know. I'm just kidding.
Fucking Matt Patricia. It is. He was exposed last year.
Who the hell brought him into Philly? He was never a fit in Philly to begin with. I was surprised when they hired him, even as in the lower role.
Oh, I see. This ain't Nick, though. Nick didn't bring him in. All right. Okay. Nick brings the other winners in.
It's so hard to know who does what in the Eagles organization.
I know. They keep it cloak and dagger, and I think that was a Howie hire. How about this team? Green Bay. What do you make of them?
I think they're ascending. I think they got good players, but I don't really believe in Jordan Love. I think he's got talent. I don't see it yet fully from him. At times, he looks amazing. And other times you watch him and you're just like, geez. They got good players, but they're another team. They got a lot of receivers.
I like their coach.
Well, their coach has proven to be pretty good. You let Aaron Rodgers out the door and you still make the playoffs. I mean, I think that's pretty impressive. So 2 years of playoffs without Aaron Rodgers, I think that's good. But I don't know. I think they're ascending. I think they could be a real factor, but they didn't really
get better on defense. They got to get better on defense. And they've got to really, in my opinion, they got to get another star out there somewhere to make a playmaker, somewhere in the tight end position. I think they need a big time tight end, something like that. I
want to alert you of something before 4:30. All right, before you continue.
Yeah.
Philly 500 has a request today.
What is it?
He says, I have one slight request. I said, anything you need, 500. You're a champion right now. He said, can I be brought on after Mark? Not a different segment, just like 5 or 10 seconds after. I don't think Mark should be introduced the same time as the champ. This will annoy him so much, and I love it.
He wants Mark Holmes to be the warm-up act for Philly 500 because he's the champion. I think he deserves that.
I said it will happen. All right. So when you get them, you bring on Mark.
Yeah.
You say, Mr. Schottenheimer's your new head coach. He's gonna stink. We all know it. And then you give a nice welcome to the world champion Eagle superfan, the greatest Eagle YouTuber to exist, and that's Philly 500. All right. So that's how you're gonna have to do that.
I loved it. Holy. Yeah.
I love 500. He is a funny ass dude. I still got to go and watch his game day stream. I didn't see it yet because I was working so long.
That's so awesome. All right, guys, please do me a favor. Hit the like. We're going to get to the Supers here in a minute. What do you make of Detroit? They lost both coordinators.
Yeah, they're up in the air, but
back.
They're up in the air, but they're going to be good. Let's be real. Talent wins in the end. All right, they might have some issues with the new coordinators, or they got to figure it all out, but they got a lot of talent on that football team. It's actually probably one of the only rosters in the NFL that's comparable to the Eagles. They got a great offensive line. They got a great defensive line. They got good skill position players. Jared Goff, it has been good. I mean, he delivers. I have a hard time believing in him late in the year at this point, but he's been good for them. So I think they're the number one threat in the NFC this year.
They got a lot. They have a culture up there that they're starting to build up there. And as long as Brad Holmes is in the mix there on building that team, they brought in Johnny Morton, I believe, to coach the wide receivers. I think they've kind of changed the entire coaching staff around a little bit too. David Shaw, the former Stanford coach, has been brought in.
They got David Shaw on this show before, no, right?
Yes, we've had David Shaw on, the head coach.
I thought I remember you having him on.
Of Stanford Cardinals, yes, absolutely. I like Detroit.
I like Detroit more than. Wait, do you think that? Because your last two, I think they're 1-2, no matter what way you put them. I mean, I think it's Commanders and Lions. I agree with you for sure. I got Lions 1 because will the league catch up to Jaden a little bit this year? You think? I'm not saying he's going to be bad. I think he's going to be a great player in this league, but is there a little bit of CJ Stroud level regression? He still makes the playoffs. They're still going to be a playoff football team, but
he's older. He's a 6-year senior that when he was in college.
How old is Jaden Daniels?
25.
Bro, he's 24. He just turned 24, so he's not 25 yet.
He's 24 years old. Okay. I mean, he's only 2 years younger than Jalen. Okay.
He's a little more than that. I think Jalen turns 27 this summer.
Okay. But as of right, 2.5 years.
Yeah, 2.5 years.
Okay. So, I mean, he was a COVID guy. because he played at Arizona State. He has more maturity to him. And here's why I think there's not a regression like there was with Stroud. $100 million in cap space. They may bring in Cooper Kupp.
Right.
They may bring in Myles Garrett.
They're going to get a lot of people.
The roster's going to get better than what Houston did in the offseason, this past offseason. Hey, dude, Stephon Diggs brought nothing to the table for the Texans this year.
That was a bad move.
Nothing down there. You know what? It was so bad, actually, the offensive coordinator got fired.
I don't understand why they got him. They have all those receivers in Houston. Why did they get Stephon Diggs? I didn't understand it when they did it.
So how about if they do this? Terry McLaurin, T. Higgins, and Cooper Kupp for Jaden Daniels. How's that?
That's a lot. You think they're going to go 2 big receivers?
Well, they may go 1. Kupp's not going to be that expensive, Doug. He's not going to be top
How
end.
old is Kupp now? He's got to be 30 something.
Yeah. He's not going to get high-end $28 million that he's making now. Then you draft a kid in the draft. These receivers are coming out of the woodworks now. Look at that kid, Brian Thomas, down in Jacksonville. These receivers are coming out of college right now. Like, again, boy, wouldn't you like to have an Adam Thielen in the building kind of player?
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels.
That I'd like.
Look at what he did to Bryce Young. By the way, I think Bryce Young's if they continue to improve that roster,
yeah.
I don't know. That's a shitty place for a quarterback is Carolina.
Oh, so shitty. But I think I think that benching was actually the best thing for him last year.
He came out of that better.
Yeah, it looked a lot better. So I like Bryce Young. Obviously, I like him for his days at Alabama, national champion at Alabama. But yeah, I hope he can turn it around. We'll see what they can do. I got Lions above Commanders though. I think the Lions are built to compete with
those coordinator. The coordinator moves bother me.
The coordinator moves bother me, but they still got a lot of talent. All right, they still got a ton of talent, and they had a crazy injury year, man. Like you don't have injury years like that every year. They had a bad bug this year.
Best defender. That'd be like losing Jalen Carter.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, our whole defense. No, worse. It would have been like losing Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith. That's how much guys they lost on that defensive line and that entire defense. And you lose C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Zach Bond. Like we wouldn't have won the Super Bowl, guys, if that happened to us. All right, so. Maybe we would have, but I don't know. We wouldn't have looked the same way. That's for sure. So, no, they're going to be interesting because they're going to get all those guys back, or at least a lot of them back, and we'll see what they can do. I also like Dan Campbell. I'm a Dan Campbell guy.
How about this last one here? What side of the aisle are you on with this Jason Kelce kind of controversy here that he was rooting for his brother? And
yeah, it's tough.
It was hard for him with the fact that, I mean, could you root against your pop?
No, I'd never. But can I give you my side of it? All right, I'm going to give you both sides of it before I tell you what side I'm on, because the truth is I'm probably going to end up straddling the fence here. I understand Philly fans who are mad at him. All right, and let me explain why. Philly people are loyal. Okay, Philly people are ride or die. All right, your podcast comes out, we're going to make you the biggest podcast on the world. You do this for us, we're going to do 10 times more for you. You signed every contract you ever had in your life in this city. We enriched you in your life. You had your family here. You met your wife in this city. The amount of things this city did for you is more than you can ever give back. Now, this is family. All right, you're talking to a guy I'm very family driven. It's his brother. All right, he's going to root for his brother in the Super Bowl. I see both sides of it. I understand Jason Kelce coming out and saying, this is a hard situation for me. All right. I get that. But I'm not going to shit on Eagles fans for being mad at him. And I'm not going to shit on people for saying they're cool with Jason Kelce doing that because it's his brother. I see both sides. And if you feel slighted, all right, because remember, there's one thing that struck me the wrong way, all right, that Jason Kelce did in the last year and a half, 2 years. When we got destroyed, dismantled, and humiliated in the postseason last year versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Who remembers that? Okay. Jason Kelce was dancing with his shirt off with a Kansas City Chiefs hat on a week later at the Kansas City playoff game. I didn't love that. Not because he was rooting for his brother, but because of what happened in Philly and dismissing it. So people add that. Now they add this. You know, they start to build a trend in their head. They're like, if you're not with Philly, you're against Philly. And like I said, I don't agree with that entirely, but people are going to feel that way. And for the people who I say, I'm so excited for the people who support this team. People who support the Eagles don't support the Eagles when it's convenient. These people support the Eagles through thick and thin, with their money, with their time, with their effort, with everything they have in their being. They cry when they lose and they're happy when they win. So when people turn on them or show that they're against the birds, it's in their nature as a loyal person to say, you know what? Fuck you too. Because they feel like everybody is against them. So I get both sides of it. But I'm not going to crush Jason Kelce for rooting for his brother. I think that's crazy. I'd root for my brother. It's a tough situation, though.
What I would say is, I like your first take. And if my brother doesn't understand that I'm rooting against him because of all the things that Philadelphia did for me, made me a millionaire, I'll probably be worth $300 million. Brother, if you don't understand what this place did for me and my family's generational wealth, and you don't get that, I got to tell you, I love you to death. I hope you play your ass off, and I hope you have a great game. But to sit there and tell me that I'm going to be rooting for the Chiefs over the people that made me a millionaire, that ain't fucking working. I don't care if that's my mother. That's me.
Yeah,
I don't care if that's my
agree.
mother. I'm not rooting for you.
I agree. And the other thing they said was it's football. It's just a game. Well, it's like, all right, if it's just a game, then I don't go on the golf course with my brother and say, I hope you win because I love you. I say I'm going to beat your ass. Doesn't mean I don't love you.
And
you can't say it's just a game, so I'm not going to root for Philly. I'm going to root for my brother. You're talking out of both sides of your mouth. Because if it's just a game, then why do you have to be so loyal to your brother?
Hey, Jason,
it's not real life.
I'm rooting for you in your life. I'm always going to take your side in life. In a game, that ain't working for me, dude.
Yeah,
because
I don't know.
That game made me get this. I'm on ESPN because of Philadelphia. I'm not. Can you imagine if that fucking guy played in Tennessee? I mean, he's a nobody. He's a nobody.
I completely agree. I mean, who knows any other center in the league? But anyway, I do think there's also a little bit of human instinct there where you got to feel for him in terms of like, it probably sucks.
It's tough.
Dude, you will know how much praise Jason Kelce got when he played here. You remember it was when you were covering the team. I mean, it's all people do. We love Kelce. Glazed and everything and this and that, and Hall of Fame and love and hugs and kisses and you name it, and podcasts and everything. All right. He got all of that when he played. Now he's gone, and the team is Super Bowl champions. Cam Jurgens filled in his role better than he probably anticipated he would, and he's probably like a little bitter about that.
Dude, they won it without me? How many times? Hey, dude, if somebody came on my show and started killing it more than me, you think
you'd be a little bit upset.
I hear you. Rooting for that.
I hear you.
I'm not rooting for that. Absolutely not happening, man. That's not what I'm. No, I mean,
it is complex, though. It is complex.
It is. But we're talking. I mean, we talking life, or are we talking a game?
Right. Agreed. So and he used that phrase. He said football's a game. Like it's not. So I get it. I'm like, but you are. Dude,
if it's a game, then I ain't rooting for you.
I agree.
Hey, dude, family.
Wait,
life.
You asked me what I'd do against my dad. I'd look my dad in the face and say, Dad, you have a mansion. I have 4 houses for my beautiful family. I love you, but fuck you. All right.
Hey, Dad, I'll tell you what,
understand?
Dad. Hey, Dad, I'll see you on the first team. We'll settle it there.
I think Travis is a little bit soft about it too. Like you can kind of tell by Travis's comments. He's like, yeah, I knew you were rooting for me. I knew you were rooting for me. I'm like, Travis, did you really put your friendship with your brother? If he didn't root for you, what would happen? Would you have really been like you're a bad brother? I don't know. I feel like he was a soft ass too. Maybe both the Kelces are getting a little soft.
Me too, man. I thought that whole podcast there. You know what I did? I did this, honest to God, in front of my wife. I went. I just started crying like a bitch. I'm like, these 2 guys are women.
Yeah,
I was like, shit. My wife and my daughter are tougher.
I mean,
I'm like, dude, man, that was
I'm a little bit Kelce out.
Conversation.
I'm a little bit Kelce'd out. All right.
I mean, let's read these supers, man. Because I got an opening act coming on before Philly 500, and then we got Ray Didinger also at 5:30.
Let's go. Johnny Cage checks in. There you go. Marky's checking in now. What's up, Mark? Johnny Cage says, I'm with Sills. If you make a move for Garrett, it's for Garrett, not Parsons. Parsons is still too immature. You don't get Lombardis with that silly shit. Yeah, tell Mark that. Abe says, how about now, Xander? Smitty over Lamb. Champs, baby. It's close. I agree, though. Abe, I'll give you it. Luke's dad says, I'm tired of the JD5 hype. When Hurts was his age, he was an NFC champ. If Hurts would have stayed with Lincoln Riley till he was 23, he might be two-time Heisman.
But that's not the facts, man. That's a ninth coordinator in 8 years for Hurts, dude. Stop using dude. Start using facts with Hurts. Don't start using fantasy.
Facts. Super Bowl MVP.
He's overcoming it.
Super Bowl champ and MVP.
Yeah, I mean, a two-time.
How's that for a fact? William Robinson says, there's usually a regression with quarterbacks at some point. I know JD5 had a great year. I'm not taking him for granted, but coordinators will catch up. I agree.
Well, again, that's why they have $100 million and they have 10 draft picks. They're going to continue to improve the roster around them because they saw. Remember something. Watch Washington do something that Dallas refuses to do. Dallas tries to beat the other big teams around the league instead of worrying about the NFC East. Washington is going to try to beat Philly because if they beat Philly, they're the champs. The champs are now in the East. Dallas looks like, again, I'll say it, and Mark's watching, and we'll bring him up soon.
Mark is fucked, and he knows it.
How about this? Dallas.
Mark is fucked, and he knows it. The Cowboys are going to be trashed.
Just because you wear a star doesn't mean you're a star. Let's read this here.
All right, Luke's dad says, all I keep hearing is every other quarterback could do what Jalen did. I'm not sure there are 5 guys who can handle Philly. One bad game or interview, and the whole city wants you and the coach gone. Welcome to Philly, baby. You know, people wondering why Kelsey's mad. There you go. There's your answer, Luke's dad. Ramir says, how long will Frank be here? Think he can take a head coach job?
No. Those days are gone.
Yeah, those days are done.
But when you have a coordinating ring, you have a job and a get-out-of-jail card for free. Hey, how about this before? Hey, I'm glad he's listening. Mark, how about this? So let me get this right. You got a world champion head football coach that was in your building. You had another one at Sean Payton. And you let those OCs out of your building and you hired Brian Schottenheimer. I can't.
We haven't had Mark on. We should have had Mark on after they hired Schottenheimer.
Yeah. No, I wanted to wait.
Getting a ring and $7 million from Carolina. How sweet is that? That's a true deal. Exactly. So if quarterback coach is less than OC, he gets larger offset from Cal. Or you're talking about the coaching stuff. I got you. Abe says, would you go after Fowler? You got that one, I believe. And Dio, final one. Do you think we could create a QB factory similar to our O-line factory? Why do we want that? I don't think that's a good thing.
Dude.
Find me a great organization that won multiple Super Bowls with having a quarterback.
Would you draft Jalen Milroe to be the backup here?
No, I like Tanner McKee.
It kind of fits the
Get
same.
rid of Flickett though. I'm done with that Flickett dude. Get rid of him. I like. Give me Tanner. I like.
Dallas.
Huh?
Send him to Dallas.
Yeah, I don't need Pickett. All right, I don't know why he's here. All right, let me get out of here. I gotta. Oh wait, let me promote something. Tonight on the night show. All right, for those who watch our night show, This Week in Pro Football with Pat Callahan. Pat reached out to me, and yours truly is going to join the show. All right, so I'll be joining Pat for the last segment. We'll have Sal Palantonio on and Gary Myers. All right, so we'll talk about the Hall of Fame. Eric Allen with Gary Myers. He's a Hall of Fame selector. And then Sal Palantonio, who was at the Super Bowl, will recap that sucker for one last time. So it should be a great show tonight. Looking forward to seeing you all guys there at 6 o'clock.
Appreciate that, Xander. Great stuff, man. I liked it with you and your pop last night and that stand-up.
Yeah, that's fun,
man.
Good,
man. Really good stuff. So make sure you guys go back and watch that. We've been absolutely killing it this week here. Really great, spectacular stuff. Xander, we'll catch you tonight and also tomorrow back with Birds 365. Hey, do me a favor. Don't yell at John so bad, man.
I'm yelling at John again tomorrow. In fact, I'm picking a fight with John once a day, every single day this offseason. So if you're tuning in to Birds 365, get ready. All right. The F-bombs are flying. The red face is flying.
John says more F-bombs than you.
Oh my God. Dude, if you talk to John off the air, it's the F word every 3 words. I'm telling you, dude, it's crazy. But no, he lets that fly when I get him going. So that should be good.
Let's do this one here. This last one here. QBs are draft capital.
Yeah, but you're not building a team to build draft capital. You're building a team to win championships.
Yeah, I'm not worried about 2 and 3 right now. I'm worried about number 1. That means finding the right coordinator around.
All right, let me get out of here. I appreciate you all. See you guys. Mark, I'll be praying for you, brother. You guys are down bad. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Philly 500 is going to give you the work today. I'm sure.
Hey,
all right, I'll see you guys.
I got you, Xander. We'll catch you tomorrow. You know, I was going to take a time out, but I'm not now. Till Xander. That's what I heard. Some people texting me going, you see what Xander did? So I had a request a couple minutes ago. And Xander ended up relaying the request. He said, do you know? Can we please have Mark come on first? And I said, well, I mean, between one of these two guys, the champion gets the call. Man. And the thing I saw with Dak Prescott, boy, I'll tell you, man, Mark Holmes has to have an exceptional offseason. I mean, his content must be through the building. But boy, I'll tell you, man, that was one of the most delusional things I've ever heard. And did I hear him barking out 9-4? 9-4 is irrelevant now. Those are consolation prizes. You know, the one thing now, hey, even for me, when you punch your ticket and you win a Super Bowl, your resume's validated. 2 NFC championships, a Super Bowl, and a Super Bowl MVP. I don't know how you dispute this. You can't dispute resumes. Pickett got a ring before Dak. How's that taste, Mark? Holy shit. All right, without further ado, I could not wait to hear him because the Dallas Cowboys have a lot of work to do. Philly 500 is going to join us in a couple minutes, but he wanted to give the platform to Mark Holmes first before he came on. I don't know if he's drunk. I don't know what's going on. The Eagles are preparing for a parade on Friday. What is Mark Holmes preparing for this offseason? Without further ado, the man who covers the Dallas Cowboys, one of the top content guys covering the Cowboys, our friend, Mark Holmes joins us now. How you doing, brother? A little rumski.
Actually, it's a shoddy shot.
So
we literally have come up with a shoddy shot because it's going to be a long season. So we're going to need to stay drunk. Okay.
Hey, Mark, salute. Mark here. Let me ask you, man. Billy requested this, that you come on first because, you know, champions are the act. You're the warm-up act.
Bro, you know how bad it's been.
I'm
on the East Coast, okay? I wake up about 7 o'clock, roll over, see my beautiful bride and rub her hiney and everything else and feeling all good to the world. And you hear, boop, my cell phone goes off, and it's Philly 500 texting me. Now, he's on the West Coast. So this is like 4 o'clock in the morning. He's literally texting me at 4 o'clock in the morning and saying, the champ is here. I mean, get the fuck out of here. And literally has done it every single day. I'm like, bro, do you literally wake up giddy in the morning just so you can text me and torment me?
Mark, he's texting you. He's giving you an Ali. The champ is here. The champ is here. He's quoting Ali on you.
But you know what's funny is I remember you talking about they weren't an 8-win team all season.
9-win team, absolutely.
9-win team. Oh, no. But you partying and celebrating and like you knew it was coming.
No, I was proven wrong. See, Mark, the difference between me and other guys.
Yeah.
When somebody goes out and validates their resume, what am I going to do? Sit around and be Skip Bayless and fucking argue proof?
Okay, I hear you. All right. For the record, I've shown up and I'm doing the walk of shame. Okay. I have given my pound of flesh here. Now, as far as I want to go back with the Dak Prescott words that everybody's taking out of context and everything else. Now, did you actually see the interview?
I saw the clip.
You saw the clip. The funny thing is he was talking for about 10 minutes about cancer, and they said, well, Dak, what do you think about you versus the Eagles and you know, how far away you are. What's he supposed to say? We're a pile of shit and we suck ass. You're gonna, of course, say, you know, hey, we're not that far away. And quite honestly, he's had success. It's not like he's the Giants going against the Eagles where Daniel Jones never won. They have actually had success against them. And as far as Washington goes, the Cowboys won one of those games with Cooper freaking Rush this year.
Come on, Mark.
Seriously.
Mark, you're talking about pocket change stuff here.
Yes, I am talking about pocket change.
Okay, you're talking.
You know what? You know what the problem is? It's your freaking buddy, Stephen Jones and Jerry freaking Jones, that keeps selling bullshit and false hope.
I get it. Let me bring him in now. Let's bring the champ in. Without further ado,
once today. I can't do it twice in a day.
Legend, another legend. By the way, Ray Didinger will be with us at 5:30. Here he is. Without further ado, here's the champ. Here's the champ. Philly
The champ is here. The champ is here.
Dude, look at this
Champ
shit,
is here.
man.
The champ is here. 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 Kicking, double moonwalking that ass. But I got a present for Mark. I got a present for you. I'll be sending you. This is what we call a used broom. Dirty blue used broom. Because we swept your ass. Then we went into the playoffs and we swept that ass. The champ is here. Got my golden hat for the golden era of Eagles football that we are in. And, is that a championship ring? I am.
You know what's funny about
Another
all this?
one's coming.
You know what's actually amusing about all this is, as I'm sitting there watching the Eagles Super Bowl game and the leading up to it, how all these Eagle fans that should be, you know, with other birds of a feather, enjoying themselves, but immediately their mind is on the Dallas Cowboys. You know, it's funny. I haven't heard anything about the Giants or the Commanders. You know, it's literally you guys only live to try and get the Cowboys. Is that what it is? Because look, listen to what you said. We swept the Cowboys. We beat that ass and stuff. Oh, and we won the Super Bowl. It's like the champ that matters is beating the Cowboys.
The champ's going to explain.
Philly, did you see what Dak? Hey, did you see what Dak?
Yeah, exactly.
He was barking about a 9-4 record versus the Eagles.
It was pathetic. It was pathetic. The champ, he heard what he said. He didn't like it. The champ thinks that Mark did a video on it today and spent 9 minutes playing the whole video, the champ said. And it was like, oh, he's stopping. Oh, he's talking because curing cancer and he's doing this. It was the biggest, like, fluff piece ever. Everybody knows he's a nice guy, but the champ wants Mark to admit that Dak's a choker. And what does the choker do? He has a loser mentality. He brings up regular season, career regular season, like it's the same team from 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019. It's a different team. This guy stinks. The Dallas Cowboys will never, ever, ever win with Dak Prescott. That's what the champ thinks.
Now, about this, Mark, all right? You get to retort that, and what'd you make of your hire of Brian Schottenheimer?
It doesn't, you know what? Let's go ahead and agree. It doesn't matter what I say. It does not matter what I say. I'm going to get trashed. I know Eagle fans are loving this shit. Okay. You better send me a fucking check for this show. You better send me a fucking check. Dan.
I got some.
I'll send you some. Wait, I'll send you some gift cards.
I want to check.
Hey, I'll send.
Got soup.
Mark, I got some gift cards from like Hooters, and I also have some gift cards from Outback Steakhouse. I'll get to both of you guys. Go ahead, Mark.
Okay. The Cowboys look like they usually do with hiring a coach with Brian Schottenheimer. I actually look at Brian Schottenheimer and say, because everybody said, well, he wasn't one of the hot coordinators. Well, we've seen a lot of hot coordinators that haven't done shit as head coaches, right? There's something like $800 million in coaches' dead money that's being
But
paid
you
to coaches.
just fired a coordinator who just got a head coaching job in New
Yeah.
Orleans, and a guy
was
who
there
won a
2 years
Super
ago.
Bowl in Philly.
And guess what? We also let go of Dan Quinn here, who got to the NFC Championship game. Literally has done more than what the Cowboys have done the last 30 years. We had Sean Payton, of course, here as an offensive coordinator. But, you know, that shit happens. That shit happens, okay? I'm not saying – you are acting like I made these calls, that I'm the one that's in charge in here. Unfortunately, we got Jerry freaking Jones, okay, Dumb and Dumber, that are literally trying to tell you that we're going to do more with less.
Okay, and you're right. I mean, the only way you're going to win a Super Bowl is when that guy's 10 toes down. When I say this to you here, how do you tolerate Philly 500 right now, dancing all over you? I mean, for the next 6 months, from February 10th until September 9th, the start of the season, this guy is belt to ass with the Cowboys. I mean,
two things. One, okay, my team sucks, but at least I'm getting the views, okay? So I can at least take it to the
wait a minute. Now you're sounding like Dak. Dak's talking about a 9-4 record. You're talking about
and the second thing is, now here's the second part of this, and this, all jokes aside, I believe that even though the Joneses are multi-billionaires and they don't have to worry about their job or anything, you could see Jerry literally playing defense and trying to answer all of this scrutiny that he's getting. I think that stuff is actually getting to their heads a little bit. Now, time will tell in the next month if they do anything differently. If they end up signing some of our own players, if they get Micah Parsons' deal done and create some cap space. If not, then it's just the same old team.
Trade him.
I don't think so.
The champ has a question.
The difference of him, yeah, he's a pain in the ass, but look at where the defense went from him being gone for those 4 games versus when he came back. Sorry. And here's the thing. If you trade him, go ahead.
Go ahead, champ.
I'm sorry, champ.
The champ wants to know, does Mark like the hiring or not? He didn't say directly whether he liked it or not.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was saying that I thought when I look at it and say Ben Johnson, well, Ben Johnson's only had 2 good years with the Lions, and they didn't win the Super Bowl. I look at Aaron Glenn, same thing. And so Brian has more experience around and has had an offense that's had the number 1 rushing team, did do good things with Russell Wilson in Seattle. And, you know, from what I'm hearing with the players following in, you might actually be better off having him having been here than somebody coming in cold-footed.
Let me ask you a question.
They actually look pretty good as far as the coaching staff.
Let me ask you something on that then. If his name was Brian Smith, would you have hired him?
Brian Smith?
Yeah, instead of Schottenheimer.
Jerry might have. I don't know if he was cheap enough.
I'm saying that guy loves everything there is to do about having a motion picture and having a big name.
No.
What did Brian Schottenheimer do last year as a coordinator that made you want to go like this? Fuck, that's the guy.
No, I didn't say that was the guy, but I said I think it might end up being a good hire because he was here part of the staff that had Dak Prescott as the MVP runner-up. This is a guy who, with Russell Wilson, had 42 TDs, 4,200 yards, 11 interceptions, and 1,900 yards on the ground. This is a guy who was the offensive coordinator that took Mark Sanchez to the AFC Championship game 3 times.
Philly. Sorry, man. I don't mean to cut you off, Mark, but I feel like I'm getting a reach around here.
Laugh. He who laughs the loudest. Okay, you're laughing now.
I can't hear. I can't hear. My ring is making too much noise.
Hey, go ahead, Philly. I'm sorry, champ. Go ahead, champ.
The champ thinks that Mark complains about Jerry Jones all the time, and yet then somehow comes around to liking everything he does. So the delusion is going to creep back in. The champ will tell you a really good hire. A really good hire was when the Eagles hired Kellen Moore, the guy that Mark said would never, ever, ever, ever do anything for the Eagles on this show, and that he would cost us in the playoffs like he cost Dak Prescott.
Well,
maybe the
I'm
champ
gonna
thinks
say
it
you
wasn't
had a
Kellen
loaded
Moore.
team.
Whoa, wait
Dak
a minute.
Prescott.
You literally had the biggest free. Let's be clear here. You guys did it up with free agency. You know what I like about the Eagles that you guys do? Just think about this. You guys had Miles Sanders, who was a good running back, right? Right? Miles Sanders was a
Yeah.
good running back for you. You looked at that and said, you know what?
Right.
That's not good enough. And you got in Swift. And Swift actually had a really good season. I think he had, 1,400 yards passing and
13.
receiving, right?
Yep.
And instead, you
14.
said, you know what? That's still not good enough. Let's go out and get Saquon, and you get 2,000 yard back. We have a guy like Tony Pollard who, he's okay. We say, you know what? We can do well with Zeke Elliott instead.
Mark,
Okay, I mean, come on. That's not.
Mark,
But
wait a
what
minute.
about when Kellen Moore was the offensive coordinator
Yeah.
and the Cowboys were the number 1
Mark,
seed? What
to
happened?
his point, to the champ's point, we now know it wasn't Kellen that was
Oh,
the problem in DC, in Dallas. It was the quarterback and the
I don't know if it's
organization.
quarterback. Give me. Okay, I
Champ-
tell you what.
yeah, the champ
Dude,
is
he
the
leaves.
quarterback.
Give
Wait a
me.
minute,
Hold
get
on,
this.
bro.
Wait
Hold
a
on.
minute. Kellen Moore had a quarterback throw for 2,900 yards this year. When they got into the postseason, they
With
scored
a
the most.
2,000-yard
Hold
running
on,
back,
they
bro.
scored- Hold on. They scored the most points in the postseason of any NFL team. The quarterback had a quarterback rating of 90 or 92 net yards in the first 2 games. He fucking coordinated his ass off this year. Yes, they had a 2,000-yard back. You could have had him too. He was a free agent.
And that's Dak's fault that we didn't have him? It's Dak's
No,
fault
it's not Dak's.
that we literally have an owner that says CeeDee
Bro.
Lamb's going to have to get another 3 to 5 touches a game because we paid him?
Bro, you
The
got
champ,
to
the
You know what?
champ, the
Let me
champ
ask you this.
has
Okay,
a, has
tell you
a
what.
philosophy.
Let's do it this way. Let's
Champ
do it.
would like to
No,
make a
real
comment
question.
about this.
Real question. Does Troy Aikman win the Super Bowl with the team we just had?
No.
Okay. Then why
Troy
are you
Aikman is – you know who Troy Aikman I'm comparing to? I'm comparing him to Jalen and the science of this.
Okay.
You had a great running game. Hold on. You had a great running game.
Great
You had a
offensive
great wide receiver. You had one of the greatest O-lines. But you know what you had? And I don't know why people in Philly get upset with me when I say this. He has got a DNA kind of a resume like Aikman. Aikman has 3 Super Bowl rings, has a Hall of Fame jacket, went to 5 or 4 NFC championship games. You know what? If Hurts does that, he's in Canton too.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And he's
Troy
in a similar
Aikman playing
situation
within a
as Troy.
system. That's what Hurts is doing now. He's playing in a system.
The
Right.
champ will say this:
Go ahead.
that it's not if whoever was Troy Aikman was on the Cowboys today. Is if Dak Prescott was on the Eagles today, would the Eagles have won the Super Bowl anyways? I'm going to tell you no.
Yes.
They don't get out of the first round. They don't beat the
Here's-
Rams.
You know, this
Dak
is,
Prescott
I
has showed
get
you
it.
nothing. He's shown you nothing.
This,
I mean,
believe
when
me,
you were
I
number
know
one,
coming here, I was going to be diddied without the lotion.
I'm calm, cool,
Here's what I'm
collected.
gonna
I'm the
say.
champ.
Here's what I'm going to say, because when I watched your team winning the Super Bowl, in my mind, it
Doing
hurt.
what?
When I watched your team
I
winning the
couldn't hear
Super
what you
Bowl,
said there. Right there.
shut the fuck up for a second and listen. Just shut,
Champ couldn't
just
hear.
shut the fuck up, chump. Chump, can you just shut up for a
Champ
second? Chump?
couldn't hear. Wanted to know. I want to
The
make sure.
scariest thing that I saw watching that Super Bowl was, I believe that this is like the 90s Dallas Cowboys team. Looking at this, because when you go through the 90s Dallas Cowboys team, it's hard to find a weak spot. I'm trying to give you credit here because you got 2 phenomenal receivers. That's like having Michael Irvin and Harper. You got a great tight end in Dallas Goedert, which is like Jay Novacek. You've got the Great Wall of Philly, which is like the Great Wall of Dallas. Now you've got a guy who's had a better season than Emmitt Smith ever had. Your offense is truly like that dynasty, and that's the scariest part about it. And that defense, that as young as it is and hungry as shit, as my buddy Leo likes to says, a bunch of goons. Yeah, that's a well-built team. And
they're doing this in the salary cap era, where that Cowboy team was built not in the salary cap era. That's what's making it even more credible. Go ahead, champ.
The champ will take that. Because what he's saying is the Eagles are going to win at least another 2 more Super Bowls
You
in the
well,
next
no,
year.
you have
And I actually
you have
agree with him.
possibility of that.
Oh,
But
what happened?
you know, you don't know because somebody
I
can
do
get
know.
hurt. You can have an owner who's a fucking idiot and fires a great coach like Jimmy
Champions.
Johnson, you know, and sometimes teams get complacent. So you have the players that can do that. The question will be is, you know, how is the football gods going to work with it? But it hurts me to say it. It's a great built team.
How about this, champ? Gary Cobb came out on the program on Monday and said that he talked to Zach Bond, and he also talked to Zach Bond's agent and said that they want to test free agency. I mean, and get this, you got a guy on your football team that was given a 3-year, $51 million deal, and he don't even play, and that's Bryce Huff. So there's your floor, 17.5.
Right.
How willing do you think the Eagles are going to be to pay Zach Bond $20 million? And if they tag him, the tag is $24 million. So what do you think they do this offseason? He's got to be a top priority.
I still think they're going to sign him. I still think they're going to make every
No,
effort.
they give him 3 over 60. 60
I think
over
they're
3.
going to do. I think they're going to do what it takes. When you know Howie said a couple weeks ago, he said that the champ heard Howie say that, you know, they didn't sign these guys to extensions during the season now because they felt like it was distracting and players thought it was choosing sides, and that they accepted the fact that it would cost them more money, but they didn't want to do it. So I think they'll make every effort to sign him. Will they? And here's the other thing the champ thinks. If they think that Zach Bond was a product of what Fangio did and his system and how he put him in positions, they may think, well, we could get Trotter to play up to a high level too. I don't know. But I think, I mean, the champ thinks you got to try to get Zach Bond done. I think that's got to be your number one priority after getting a coordinator, of course.
I like what the champ said. Mark, this is what was said about the MVP voting. There was a 2-vote difference between Josh Sweat and also Jalen Hurts. So it was pretty down the line because that was an epic performance by him. He was all over the place, and he hired Drew Rosenhaus. He's going to be a free agent. Now, here's the deal. Again, they got some work to do. Milton Williams, Josh Sweat, cap's going to go up to 275. So the Philadelphia Eagles, you know, but this is where this guy, Howie Roseman now, who's building a Hall of Fame resume, 2 Super Bowl championships, a couple times he's been the executive of the year. He's kind of like an innovator. And I brought up Tex Schramm, and I brought up what Gil Brandt did. Gil Brandt vetted really the draft, evaluating of the draft. Tex Schramm was there. This guy's invented a way to get that money up front and create those contracts. Unless the Dallas Cowboys start creating a way of doing their contracts and not overpricing their players, bro, you're not going to run down the Eagles, because the Eagles right now, you know, they're $20 million under the cap, and they got all the fucking. I mean, it's pretty remarkable where they are.
It is. And, you know, I wish I could be on a call with you sometime when you talk to Stephen Jones, because there's a lot of questions I'd like to ask.
I bet you would.
When you are worth $10 billion, what would be wrong with paying a guy $500,000? It's just
now because you overpaid for the other guys.
No. Hold on, listen to me. Hiring a guy that the only thing he does is contracts, an expert. Because clearly Stephen Jones, from doing it from the 90s, where he's been the capologist, doesn't know shit. You're worth
Wait a minute. There's a glare coming off the new Super Bowl championship ring. I'm sorry, Mark. I was a little distracted. I was like,
I'm sorry. I didn't mean for the ring to cut you off.
I was like in Lake Dallas. Hey, wait a minute, Mark. I was in Lake Dallas, and there was a shiny lure in Lake Dallas, and I think it's the Eagles Super Bowl ring. Dude.
The champ didn't mean for his ring to make so much noise.
Sorry, man. There's too much bling going on. I had Merrill Reese on the day. He had his 5 rings on, NFC and Super Bowl championship rings on. I mean, Mark, man. I mean, where are you guys going, dude? What's your top move in the offseason? Besides that shitty hiring of the head coach.
That's a good question. I can hope. I mean, I've got Micah Parsons basically tweeting and saying, let's stop Thanos, which is Philly 500 right there, to Myles Garrett, trying to see if he can team up with him. Do I think the Cowboys will actually do anything? No, because Jerry's already said, we'll be better just having Dak back. So we are stuck unfortunately, in hell.
The champ
Cowboys
thinks
don't
that,
believe in doing
that Jerry Jones is doing it because he thinks Dak can't really win for him. The champ thinks that if Jerry really believed in Dak, he would go out and get the people. But once Dak choked many
Didn't do that with
times,
Romo either.
he kind of got rid of the team that he had. Remember, Dallas was the number 1 seed. What, 2 times under? Were they number 1 seed twice with Dak?
That was done with smoke and mirrors, bro.
The
But
they were
Dallas
number
Cowboys,
1 seed, and they had a playoff.
I hear
game
what
out.
you're saying. I
Can't
hear what
lose
you're
that
saying.
game.
But when you had Dan Quinn as the coordinator, that's a defense that's made to play with the lead. That's a defense that is not a playoff defense that can stop teams in the run. That's the problem. That is the Achilles heel. When you get to the playoffs, you have got to stop the run, and you've got to be able to run the football. And the Cowboys, we just have not been that.
The champ says that Dak
we were able to
Prescott's
run in the
pick
playoffs really
sixes
well.
probably didn't help.
Yeah,
You know, Jalen Hurts
see,
is now
again,
6-3 in the playoffs.
Here's the problem. That is a product of not being able to run the football when you become one-dimensional. You can just say Dak sucks. And I'm fine. It doesn't matter what I say. But if you are one-dimensional and Mike McCarthy believes in passing the football, the defensive players are going to pin their ears back. You're going to double cut.
But that's under
You're the
McCarthy.
third best team in the NFC East now.
At the moment. But we saw the Giants step up and win a playoff game, and where are they now?
Yeah, well, that's not Daniel Jones in Washington.
Well, we'll see. We've seen the sophomore slump.
That rookie took him to the NFC Championship
Let's
game.
see if he does it
He has
again.
as many wins. The champ says he has as many wins in the playoffs as Dak Prescott.
He's got more.
Does he got more?
Give me
That
something
he
to
got
work with.
two. He's got 3.
What was the third one? He lost. No, he's got 2, right? Tampa and Detroit.
He's got 2.
Yeah,
Get this.
he's tied in his rookie year.
Washington's got
no. It was actually Seattle. Seattle.
No. I was talking about.
He's one. Well, he was a wild card. Philly. He's 2-1. He's 2-1.
2-1.
Yeah.
2-1. He's 2-1. He's got his.
Hey, Mark, how many playoff
postseason.
wins does Jalen Hurts have?
6.
This
He's
many.
6-3.
This many.
Hey,
No way. Half the
he's
time.
6-3.
It's interesting. It's interesting.
All right.
Champs.
Let's do this. Philly,
It's not.
what's your biggest concern in the offseason for your Eagles? Is it the offensive coordinator and who that guy is? Or is it the free agents that you potentially have to sign?
It's tough. I worry a little bit about the offensive coordinator because it looks like it's going to be this Patullo kid, right? This guy, right? He's been with Nick for a while. I feel like if Milton Williams, I love. If I were the Cowboys, I would pursue a guy like that. But they're too stupid. But the champ thinks that if you get Zach Bond signed, I think we're good to go. Like I think we're ready to go. I mean, this is a well-built team, as Mark said. The champ agrees with that, and the champ thinks that get Zach Bond signed, and I think maybe get another edge rusher. You know what's interesting? The champ's got to say, look at Nolan Smith in the Super Bowl. Look at Jalen Hunt in the Super Bowl. I mean, these guys are starting to play. Sills.
Hey, champ. That guy Ojomo's a better player than Lazy Smith.
He is. He's good.
The guy Ojomo.
Yeah. I mean, if I were the Cowboys, I would go get Milton Williams. They need a guy like that. I don't want him. I would like to sign him, but
I never thought you. I always thought you were a brother. I didn't realize you were a white guy. Why is your face all pale and such? You look all pale right now. Like you're ready to throw up. You're ill, man. What's up with you? Look ill right now, man. Are you?
Champ needs a sip of his champagne.
All I have to say is, you owe me. You owe me for showing up in this motherfucker, okay? You know, the 650 people here watching, you better hit the damn like button and stuff, and you better sign up for Bet US as well and make sure to
pinky up
don't
when
bet
you
on
drink
Cowboys, okay?
tears.
Bet
The champ
responsibly.
always drinks Cowboys tears. with his
Oh my
pinky
God,
up.
that's a great new drink, a new wine in Philly.
Yeah.
Cowboy tears. It's
Yeah.
a Merlot.
That's it.
Hey, Mark, it's a fucking Merlot.
The thing is that the shine of the championship ring from the champ is brightening everything up in this world, isn't it? The world has suddenly got really, really good. Everything is going good.
Hey, Mark.
I love it.
Okay, before I'm gonna give the champ.
I don't think you should let him go. I think we should be doing a 24-hour stream. This should just be going on for 24 hours. We could stay here all night. The champ will stay here all night.
Hey, Mark.
Me, Sills, and Mark.
Hey, hey, Mark. I'm gonna give you. I can't give you the last word. The champ gets the last word.
I got a dustpan for to go with the broom too, just to let you know.
Hey, Mark.
The champ thinks of you.
Parting shot, Mark. What do you have for Cowboy fans? And maybe more importantly, what words do you have for Eagle fans?
Yeah,
For
say
Eagle
it
fans,
slow and loud.
Congratulations and enjoy it.
Wait, say that again. I couldn't hear.
I'm not saying that shit again.
I couldn't hear you.
For Cowboy fans, there's a reason why I came in here is to be embarrassed and hopes that us getting embarrassed will make it up to the ivory tower there where Jerry and Stephen Jones, and that they actually decide that they need to do something different than what the fuck they're doing. Keep the pressure on those guys because we are literally at rock bottom. We got nowhere to go but up right now.
So would you have felt better, Mark, if, say, the Arizona Cardinals, Seattle, the Browns, or anybody else but those dudes winning the Super Bowl, you wouldn't be in such a horrible disposition right now.
I certainly would. Believe me, I'd be happy as shit at this moment. Just anybody but the Eagles, okay? Because nobody else trolls me like Philly 500. No, I don't have to go on anybody else's show but Dan Sileo's, okay? You know, it sucks. We're in hell.
I love the hell out of you.
Hey, Mark, I think you need to give your boy Cameron Sirico, I think he needs a tissue because he's a crying baby, the champ thinks. And the champ thinks that he's a crying little baby. Oh, poor you. Obviously, Sills, the champ knows that the Cowboys have learned nothing from this. And the Cowboy fans have learned nothing from this. And they're going to keep making the same mistakes, starting with their quarterback, who's a
well, Mark, I have to give it to you.
You did. You gave it to me.
Mark, and Mark, I think there is something with some really good passion on what you said there about this. Taking a shit on you is maybe going to be a beneficial thing for Cowboy fans, for Dak, for the ownership, for everyone to stop being delusional and go out and do some work. Get some free agents. Get some more qualified people running your cap. Because I'll tell you what, in my opinion, you're 3 years behind the Eagles.
One final stat. Since 2016, the Eagles have spent $639 million on free agents. The Dallas Cowboys have spent $340, and that's including your own free agents. That lets you know we just ain't even doing enough to compete.
Damn.
Champ says you got to go out and play on the field.
That's right.
And Cowboys have had the #1 seed, and they still lost. They had Kellen Moore, and they still lost. So I don't feel bad for them. I do love Mark, but Champ loves Mark. But if the roles were reversed, he'd be doing the same thing.
Mark would be
I have to give it
the top rope with syrup in his
know.
hands, elbows. He'd be coming off the fucking top rope.
I Are you
He
kidding
would
me?
kill me. He would kill me with his 50 videos. In 50 years from now, when the Cowboys maybe win something, you know, I'm gonna have to pay a price for it. But
Hey.
I'll take. I'll take it.
How about this though,
Bro, I'll be gone by then.
Hey, Philly, I'm surprised that you didn't come to this. Come to our little soiree here with crime tape, you know, and circle it off.
Dude, I'm out of tape. I'm out of confetti. I'm out of cigars. I have been celebrating for the last 3 days. I'm all out. The champ's got to go back to the store.
Hey, man, you guys have been spectacular. We're going, Mark. At least the off season's here. No more pain. You're out of pain.
Gotta go. The champ doesn't go off first. You got to kick him off first.
Hey,
champ.
Hey, I hate to do this. The champ leaves last. He always leaves the ring last. Mark, thank you so much. And hey,
champ
man,
says, have a good day.
See you on the flip side.
Bye. The champ says goodbye. Thank you.
Philly 500. I've got to give you the floor here. I love Mark too, by the way. I really do. And I appreciate him.
Of course. Absolutely.
Make sure you check out his stuff.
I wouldn't do this if I didn't like him.
No,
you know what I mean? If I don't like you, I ain't gonna do
this. I will suggest this. Philly 500 yesterday did say, you know, make sure you get him on before me.
And he told me last night, he says, I'm going on Sil's show today. And I said, oh, well, I look forward to it. But he didn't pick up that I'm coming too.
Oh, my God. Final thoughts, brother, on your great victory, ass beating of the Chiefs on Sunday.
It was good, man. I believed that they were going to beat the crap out of the team. They did. I thought the Eagles looked hungrier. Jalen Hurts, I always believed he was a winner, and he proved it. And I really think, I do. I really think this is the beginning of the golden era. Unlike 2017, this team's got a lot of young players. You look at all the young guys, the Cooper DeJeans, Quignon. I mean, these guys are rookies that have now played in the Super Bowl. They've got a lot of experience. So we just got to make a few right moves, and I think we'll be right back in it next year.
Philly 500. Excuse
Thank
me.
You.
Champ 500.
Champ.
Dude, you've been absolutely awesome. Mark, I want to thank you. And as you exit the ring as the champion of the world, the rope gets moved up. You walk through the rope. You walk through the crowd of Cowboy fans, all in tears. And there you are waving. The new
my Cowboys.
And now the defending world champion Philadelphia Eagles.
The champ
right
is
there.
here.
Congratulations to you, Philly 500.
Thank
Make sure
you.
you check out both guys and all their great channels and all their great work.
The champ's got to go talk to the boss now. I'm called the wife. So you got to go.
You got to go. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. You guys are absolutely awesome. Great stuff. Hey, Ray Didinger is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. Okay, we will talk to the legendary Philadelphia sports talker. That'll be at the bottom. Don't forget our great friends at Morgan & Morgan. We've known John Morgan for over 20 years. We had him on last week. We were proud to introduce you to him. He is has America's #1 injury law firm in the country with over $20 billion recovered by Morgan & Morgan and the thousands of attorneys that they have. This is what this company does for families around the United States. In Pennsylvania, a client was awarded $650K. They ended up getting $26 million. In Florida, a family was offered $350K. They ended up getting $12 million in recovery. This is what Morgan & Morgan does. Let me tell you, folks, if you've ever been injured, please check out our friends at Morgan & Morgan. The fee is free unless they win. Go to forthepeople.com/Big Sills or Pound Law 529. That's FOR. thepeople.com/Big Sills or Pound Law 529. And do me a favor. You tell them Big Sills say it to you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Big Steel's National Football Show. I didn't realize that Cooper DeJean also won the fan voting for the MVP in the game. I mean, I said it before and I'll say it again. He's more impressive than me than Quinyon Mitchell. Ray Dittinger is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. Please hit the like button. Xander, I'm not sure if we missed some super chats during the soiree there with our guys. We may have missed a couple supers. If we did, we'll put them up here, guys. We appreciate each and every single one of you coming aboard with us. Dak has 5 interceptions in his last 3 playoff games. Dude, the conversation with Dak and Jalen, again, you can always say that if you think that Dak has a better arm than Jalen, fine. Where's that going? He's 6-3. I am a resume guy. I told you this, okay? That's why when even Mark goes, Sills, you said the same thing. I know. He went out and won a Super Bowl. What do you want me to do? Lie? Funny, Dak says that they're close. They're not close. The Cowboys are not close to the Commanders. I mean, who do you think, if you were going to pick to win the NFC East this coming year, the Commanders or the Cowboys? Taking out the Eagles. I wouldn't pick the Cowboys. Adds pressure to himself. Absolutely. Mark, how the playoffs look from your couch? Man, you let go, took us there. Kellen Moore. Absolutely. Mark, remember when you said you were going to regret hiring Kellen Moore? He chokes in the playoffs. Well, he has a ring now. Maybe it's not the coordinator. Maybe it's Dak, Joshua. It is. Hey, by the way, Kellen Moore won that argument too. Funny, Dak says that they're close. Add pressure to himself. God forbid. We hold the highest paid quarterback to that standard, and Mark would make 1,000 excuses. Mark, you can't have a $60 million quarterback, and you can't have 2 playoff wins. Jaden Daniels has as many playoff wins in 1 year of play in Washington. I mean, dude, the Cowboys are 3 years minimum away from being a team that will contend for a Super. By the way, once again, the Philadelphia Eagles, they're doing it the right way. They want to control their, you know how the Eagles control their fate through the East. Have they ever been to a Super Bowl when they hadn't won the NFC East? Controlling your destiny is controlling your division. Until they change that playoff format, you got to win your division. It's not important for the Eagles to have a better roster than Detroit. It's just not. It's not. Who cares what San Francisco's doing in the NFC West? Who cares? Okay? You have to win the East first. You have to. I wrote down my top 20 NFL free agents. And unfortunately, many of them are Philadelphia Eagles in the top 20. Here are the top 20 NFL free agents that are going to command a ton of money. And let's do the Eagle guys here. Before Ray Didinger jumps on with us at the bottom of the hour here. I've got Micaiah Becton 16th. Philadelphia Eagles. You know what that means? Hey, by the way, Andre Dillard got $11 million a year in Tennessee. That was 2 years ago. What do you think a guy like Micaiah Becton is going to get in the open market when he hits it? Well, he's going to hit it March 17th. Get this. Pat says overpay. No shit. All these guys are going to be overpaid. Right. Hey, Micaiah Becton. I heard Xander say $9 million. I think that was kind of, I don't know if he landed on that, but I mean, maybe John said that. $9 million? Now, here's what you got to look at. How much do right guards make? There's a difference between left guard and right guard. So when you say $20 million, I don't know too many $20 million right guards. Do you understand that's the lesser position of any of the 5 guys? The pecking order goes like this: left tackle, right tackle, left guard, center. Hey, as great as Jason Kelce was, and he was the highest paid center in the league, do you know how much money he made? I made like $12 or $13 million. The center positions don't make giant money. He was making like maybe 14, I think it was. 14 million. You know what the top 3 left guard makes? 21 million. You know what a top left tackle makes? 28 million. Lane's the only guy that knocks that out on the right tackle position, where he makes 25 million. Right tackles don't make 25 million. He does, because he's the preeminent guy. Everything's got a pecking order on the scale. And by the way, you know, I should have probably preferenced this yesterday when I said, what's Howie going to do here? You know, he's got guys to pay here and there. The cap is not the issue for the Eagles. It's the market is the issue. You're going to fight the market prices. Do you understand that? Well, Howie will make. Okay, so Howie's going to pay all those. What do you want to be, the Cowboys next? You don't have a cap issue. And you can talk about moving the money around. This is what Howie's forte is, sure. Are you going to pay $24 million for Zach Bond per year annually? Because I think the Jets would pay for that. So are you willing to do this? $72 million over 3 years for Zach Bond. Now, do I think he'll get that? Here's what my problem would be. I think general managers are going to team up on this notion. He's only done this shit for 1 year. What are we looking at here? Am I really going to go in there and pay that guy that money? How do I know he's a $70 million player? I'm going to pass. Then all of a sudden the market may come down for him. Because the 1 year excelling the way he did, it's going to play against him, even in Philly. Because the coordinator, you can't tell me that the system and the coordinator didn't help me as a player, because it did. How many systems and how many coordinators? If I'm Zach Bond, here's where I go. I go to Robert Saleh in San Francisco, who have no money. I go to Minnesota because of Brian Flores. I'm going to look around. I go to Tampa because of Todd Bowles. I got to be in a place where there's a defensive-minded guy in the room to take my talents and look at the film and know what he's looking at. So he doesn't have as big a market as you think. If you want to go to the Jags and get a bag of money, that's one thing. But if you want to get the best out of the Steelers signed Patrick Queen last year to a big-time deal. You think they're going to turn around and sign another free agent linebacker and put what? $75, $80 million in two players? I don't know, man. That's not really what the Rooneys do. The Rooneys aren't really, the Rooneys for the Steelers, this is the new game for them, being in free agency. They're a big-time organization that likes to elevate, evaluate, and they like player development. They don't want to go into free agent market. And do you realize that Patrick Queen's probably the best interior linebacker they've had since Ryan Shazier, who they drafted out of Ohio State? That's not what they do. Hit the like button, guys. Give me a total on the likes. Ray Dittinger is going to join us at the bottom of the hour here. Can't wait to talk with him. So I got Becton ranked at 16th. You know what? I said this to Xander the other day, and I was wrong. Kansas City has more work to do also. I didn't realize it. Kansas City has Nick Bolton, Justin Reed, Trey Smith. And I got those guys in the top 20 players. They're not retaining Nick Bolton. Justin Reed, they're going to let that kid go too next. So you're going to let Snead and then Reed. And a couple of years ago, you let Honey Badger go? Wow. Kansas City, are you going to let Trey Smith walk out the building? Holy shit. Trey Smith's going to help a team. Hey, let me say this to you. If you're Dallas, you sign Trey Smith from Kansas City and you sign Micaiah Becton from the Eagles. And there's your guards. Because Zach Martin's not coming back. That's going to cost you some pennies. Becton and Trey Smith are going to help a team. Team that has offensive. Hey, don't be surprised if Chicago comes in, try to help out Caleb Williams, because they need some offensive line help up there. I wouldn't be shocked if San Francisco moves off of Debo, maybe another guy, and they bring in Trey Smith to put next to Trent Williams. The Texans, it's a good one here, Abe. They need O-line help. The O-line was a train wreck. Love in Green Bay. There's some players in this top 20. Okay? Here. I got Zach Bond at 10. Out of my top 20 free agents. You know why? The 1-year deal bugs me. He was sensational this year. Dude, the only reason that I have Zach Bond at 10 as a free agent is because of the 1 year. There's no history of him being good. There's just one season, and he's 27. Am I going to pay him $25 million? Really? Or am I going to be a... See, you know what's going to happen to Zach? How many teams is he going to have after him? Can I tell you this? Get this. Josh Sweat and Milton Williams are going to have more people after them. Why? Why is there going to be a bigger market for them than for Zach Bond? Why do you think? Linebacker position. Why do you think there'll be a bigger market? Okay. You win with your interior, your line play. You can make linebackers. Look at Oren Burks. If you've got quality guys in your D-line, hey, by the way, that turned out to be true. Jalen Hurts won the MVP award in the Super Bowl by 2 votes over Josh Sweat. I posted a couple people who voted for Josh for the Super Bowl MVP. That's how good he played in that game. Jalen Hurts was not a runaway MVP in that game. Sweat had a ton of people vote for him. Okay? It's not a rip. It's just that it came down. He probably needed one more sack, or he would have won the MVP award. Both guys were great in the game. It's not a rip. 2 guys play exceptional football in the game. Okay? So, to me, you got to look at the teams looking at linebacker. And here, are you going to sign a linebacker like Zach Bond to a $22 or $20 million deal? If you got shitty D tackles in front of him, you had Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter in front of him. 2 guys over 320 pounds. Do you have that? Where are you going with that dynamic? New York? You know, I mean, are you going there with New York? So, guys, that's going to help you. I'm not talking shit on you. Okay? That's going to help. You don't want a big market for him. His market value is going to be determined by how they look at him and that 1 year that he had. Get this. Best linebacker in football this year. Yep. Was maybe the most consistent player next to Barkley all year long. Yep. How many years he's done it? 1. Hey, Patrick Queen and Fred Warner and Roquan Smith, they were paid by how they put years together. This guy has no history of this. That's the only reason I got him at 10. I got Milton Williams at 5. Milton Williams is going to get $20 million a year over 3. He's going to get 3 years, $60 million. You always overpay for O linemen and D linemen. Devon Hargrave. If you look at it, look at the New York Giants. They have one offensive lineman that they have found and developed in the last 8 years. That left tackle they have. That's it. They've got nobody. Okay? And Williams played consistent football all year. I know this. Steelers, Patriots are going to be in a bidding war for him. Dolphins may add into that too. They've liked him for 2 years. Okay? I mean, he's going to get money. I got Josh Sweat number 2. Might be too high. Might want to put Ronnie Staley up there or T. Higgins maybe above him. But he's in the top 5. Milton's in the top. Eagles have 2 top 5 guys, and you can actually throw Bond in the top 6 if you want to push him up there and you think that year was worthy and you feel comfortable giving him that money. You can easily do that. Josh Sweat's also going to be 3 years, $60 million. And again, like I said, I'm not talking about the Eagles salary cap here. I'm talking about the Eagles fighting against the market. You won the Super Bowl. You played on the number one defense. You were an impact player in the Super Bowl and in the playoffs. These guys are going to cash in. Hey, think about this. In 2022, did those guys cash in? Yeah. By the way, give me a total on the likes here. Hey, did TJ Edwards cash in after the Super Bowl? Did he cash in? Kaiser White got $7 million a year in Arizona. Did Marcus Epps cash in? He cashed in. Javon Hargrave got $20 million annually. They cashed in. What makes you think these guys won't? Right? Again, this is not a cap comment. We're not talking about whether Howie can move this around, put this here, -6 and 3, and, move this team, this side. That's not what this is. Howie's going to be fighting against the open market. And then the Eagles got to determine how much they're going to spend out of their wallet. Do I feel comfortable spending $20 million a year for Zach Bond? Having done it 1 year. Do I feel comfortable with that? That's where you are with this. Okay? The Eagles got, and the price of being the champ. Dude, you know what I'm hearing Kellen Moore's making? Kellen Moore is going to sign an absolutely fabulous deal. Now, because of that thing going on with the parish down there, there's some bad publicity. They want a whole new page turned. They want to get away from the Sean Payton, Dennis Allen, and all that. They want to turn the page. Okay? He's going to sign a great deal. It's going to have carte blanche from what Mickey Loomis says on the free agents. First, they got to deal with the 50-some-odd million they're over the cap, and they got to determine what they're doing with Derek Carr. Do they bring Sam Darnold in? Hey, Sam Darnold is the number one free agent. Quarterback position. Darnold, Sweat, T. Higgins 3, Ronnie Staley 4 from the Baltimore Ravens, Milton Williams 5, Trey Smith, offensive guard, Kansas City 6, DJ Reed, corner, Jets 7, Javon Holland, Miami, safety 8, Drew Dahlman, Atlanta center, and Zach Bond 10, linebacker. It's the only time, okay, the only time that you're going to see whether or not this guy is going to have a big market. And I'm talking Zach because of him only producing it for 1 year. This is the money time of the year. It's where you're building your rosters. How about Bain at 15 to 19 a year, 12 to 15 cap, 2 to 3 voidable years and performance bonuses to put in the $20 million range? I'm going to put this out there to you before we get Ray Didinger on here. Look, Zach Bond is going to command. Gary Cobb came on the program right after Angelo on Monday, and he said he talked to the agent in the locker room, and he talked to Zach. They're going to test free agency. Why wouldn't you? He's 28 years old. He's got probably, this is the only big deal remaining on his deal here. You think the agent's going to sit there and go, hey, take the Philly special, cut $5 million off the deal? Why? Everybody in 22 got rewarded. Kaiser White. TJ got rewarded. He got a nice deal up in Chicago. All right. I couldn't wait for this because years ago when I was with the Bucks and Jerome, my running partner at the University of Miami, Jerome Brown was in Philadelphia. Ray Didinger was kind of the voice of Philly. And we get Angelo on each and every single Monday. He says, you want to talk about Philadelphia history and Eagle history, which is awesome because how I met Chuck Bednarik was through my legendary uncle, Andy Robustelli. And that's how I met Chuck. And Robustelli, of course, introduced me to Chuck Bednarik and all that. I used to get concrete on, hey, Sileo, how you doing? And I was going, this guy went to Penn? Without further ado, truly one of the great sports talk hosts. We've had last week, I had Howard Eskin on. We get Angelo on, like I said, but we have to really welcome in here Ray Didinger. We really appreciate him taking time with us. Ray, man, I mean, I've been trying to get you on. I know you're a hot commodity, people wanting to know what you thought of the game on Sunday, and thank you for doing this.
Always a pleasure, Dan. Nice to see you again.
You bet. You know, I mean, Jerome used to talk really great things about, because him and Reggie were like, you know, they were like two brothers, and, you know, you were really great friends, especially with Reggie. And I have to ask you out of the gate here, as much as I like Gang Green, that was in my era, what you saw on Sunday, was that the greatest performance you ever saw in a big game by a Philadelphia Eagle defense?
Yeah, probably was. Probably was. I mean, you could cherry pick a couple of games from the era you were talking about. I mean, the 11 sack game of Troy Aikman down in Texas Stadium, where at the end of the day, Mike Golick had more sacks than Reggie White. I'm still trying to figure that one out. But I mean, that was obviously a big defensive game, and you know, the body bag game when Eagles then Redskins at the Vet on a Monday night, pretty memorable. But talking about that kind of a defensive performance in a Super Bowl with the whole world watching, yeah, I think that's about as good as it gets. That was a pretty amazing performance to get that kind of pressure in that kind of a game with just a 4-man rush and no blitzing. It was really something to see. I mean, I thought the Eagles would win. I picked them to win, but I certainly didn't expect it to go down like that.
I mean, they made him look like Sam Darnold in that game. I mean, I'm talking Mahomes. I mean, it was just an absolute onslaught there. I mean, it was – I thought I was watching Sam Darnold. I'm like, that's Patrick Mahomes. Holy cow. I mean –
I actually can go you one better. I mean, when I was watching it, I was thinking Christian Hackenberg.
Oh, my God. Holy cow.
I mean, to see – I really never thought I would see Patrick Mahomes look that overmatched. And he clearly was. And right from the beginning, I mean, you could tell right from the beginning that, you know, we've seen the Chiefs before start a little slow, but then there's always that feeling, you know, Mahomes is going to figure this. Mahomes and Andy will figure this out. You know, they'll hit a couple plays, they'll get it rolling. You never got that feeling on Sunday. I mean, you got the feeling that the Eagles had them fully by the throat right from the beginning, and that they could have played 8 quarters and it wasn't going to change.
No, absolutely not. Angelo on Monday called this Eagle team the greatest Eagle team in the Super Bowl era. I'm not going to go back 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s to the Bednarik team in the 60s. But do you think this is in the Super Bowl era? This is the best Eagle team that you've ever seen?
Yeah, probably I'd have to say so. Yes, I would. I mean, if you wanted to go back through the whole history of the franchise, I mean, all the way back to the foundation, I still think the 1949 team was probably their best. That team was 11-1. And here's an amazing stat for you, Dan. In a 12-game season, the point differential for the season, they outscored their opponents by 200 points in a 12-game season.
Wow.
I mean, you talk about domination. That was total domination. 33-man roster, 4 of those guys in the Hall of Fame, head coach in the Hall of Fame. It was, I mean, Van Buren and Bednarik, all those guys. I still think, I've always thought that was the best team. I probably still think that's the best team. But if you want to just talk Super Bowl era, modern era, got to be this. I mean, 18 wins, 10-game winning streak, team record, and then that kind of a one-sided Super Bowl victory against a 2-time defending Super Bowl champion. I mean, it's not like you caught some lucky wild card, a 6th seed that found its way into the Super Bowl. I mean, you were stepping in with the heavyweight champ, and you took him out. So yeah, I think by just about any standard you want to apply, this would have to be the best team.
Well, let me throw and go one further here on you. The 85 Bears, 86 team in the Super Bowl, the 86 Super Bowl, when they beat the Patriots and held that Patriots team to 7 yards rushing. Was this the best performance by a defense that you've seen in the Super Bowl era by any team? I know that 49ers, that 55 win, 55-10, I believe it was, over the Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
You go back, it's kind of hard, but boy, Ray, I'm telling you, those Steeler teams were awesome in the playoffs. But, you know, the Rams in the 80 Super Bowl, they put up points against them. I'm trying to think of a team that had a better performance outside of that Bears team. And is this the best you've seen a Super Bowl defense play?
Well, you mentioned a couple of them. I mean, the 85 Bears were, they were great for the entire season. I mean, and then they just absolutely crushed New England in the Super Bowl. I will tell you that I still think that the Steel Curtain, when it was at its best, was the best defense I ever saw. I remember their Super Bowl, the first one they won against the Vikings, also down in New Orleans, they held the Viking team with Chuck Foreman and a really good offense, held them to like 10 yards rushing for the whole game. And then there was another Super Bowl with that same Steel Curtain team where they beat the Cowboys, a great Cowboy team, and sacked Roger Staubach 7 times. I thought those were to try and say one's greater than the other. I think that's kind of hard to kind of
because the eras.
Yeah, because the game has changed.
Yep.
It's a whole lot different game today than it was in the 70s and the 80s. But if you're talking about the best defensive performances in the Super Bowl, I think that what the Eagles did this week. 6 sacks of Patrick Mahomes has never happened before. It never been sacked 6 times in any game. To do that in a championship game like this and make that whole offense just shut down. That's got to be mentioned in any great Super Bowl defensive conversation.
Ray, help me out on this one here because, sometimes I try to explain to people when you say the best quarterback in the league, some people confuse talent with resume.
Mm-hmm.
I compare Aikman and Hurts to pretty much kind of what they're both were asked to do. Troy won 3 Super Bowls inside of a system with guardrails on it. He was one of the most successful guys, 5 conference championship appearances. He's a Hall of Famer. He had a Hall of Fame running back, Irvin on the perimeter, Harper in the best O-line. When I look at Hurts, can 2 things be true here? Hurts may not be Allen or Lamar. Those guys are just so athletically gifted. But then now when you start talking about resume, you cannot not mention Hurts any longer because then you throw the resume in. 2 NFC championships, 6-3 in the postseason, Super Bowl. How do you differentiate between who the best are and who the more accomplished are? Because am I off base here with this?
No. I think you're right, and I think it's it's something that everybody has their own definition of it. Everybody has their own how they perceive and how they rate different players. And a lot of times people go straight to the stats. They go straight to the analytics. They go straight to passer efficiency rating, quarterback efficiency rating, average yards per attempt, completion percentage. All those things that you can feed into a computer, which is fine. If that's how you want to rate players. Then there's just the idea of I'll just go with what I see. I'll just go with I can watch the game and I can kind of determine who can play and who can't. I don't need a whole lot of numbers to point me in the right direction. And Jalen Hurts, if he plays 10 more years, which he probably will, he's never going to lead the league in yardage. He's never going to lead the league in touchdown passes. But he very well may lead the league in wins.
Yeah.
And if you really want to get right down to the essence of quarterbacking, that's kind of where it's at. I remember when I was at NFL Films, doing an interview with Terry Bradshaw, and we talked about this very topic. And Bradshaw said, if you look at the all-time list of quarterbacks, how they rate them, and it is by quarterback efficiency rating. He said, I'm somewhere like 88 or something. He said, I mean, all of these guys, Neil Lomax is ahead of me, and Jimmy Garoppolo's ahead of me, and all these other guys, Tim Rosenbaugh's ahead of me. Both Hasselbacks are ahead of me. But I have 4 Super Bowl rings, and Bradshaw said, if you want to go by numbers, if you want to go by stats, I'm not your guy. But he said, and this is Bradshaw talking. He said, but to me, I'm going to judge quarterbacks by 2 things: did they score points? And did they win games? All the other stuff is just stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it really comes down to, did he score points, and did his team win games? He said, I think that's how you measure quarterbacks. And he said, by that standard, I was pretty good. And he's right. He's right about that. Now, if you have any kind of discussion like you and I are having about the great quarterbacks of all time, you could talk for an hour without ever hearing anybody say Terry Bradshaw. Right. He'll never be in that conversation. Yet, you look at what he accomplished and played in the big games, it's right there. And I think that, obviously, Bradshaw and Hurts are very different kinds of players. But the bottom line is kind of the same. They're going to score points, they're going to lead their offense, and they're going to win games. And when you get right down to it, that's not a bad measuring stick for quarterbacking.
No, absolutely not here. That leads me to this now. Nick Sirianni. The hiring of this coordinator coming up, I think, is going to be essential to the team's success because, the revolving door that the Eagles have at that coordinator position. Jalen's not going to be working on his 9th coordinator in 8 years, counting college play and all the coordinators that he's had. And as you know, Ray, look at some of the quarterbacks around the NFL. Andy Reid, 10 years with Mahomes almost. Love's going to have he's going to have Matt LaFleur up there. He's going to have him his entire career. Kyle Shanahan's probably going to be with Purdy, and on and on. You got stability at that. You don't have stability, which means you're going to get increment of increasing of what this guy can become. Maybe he never fulfills it because of all the turnover. Nick Sirianni, I look at him and I go, last year was a disaster at the end because he had 2 bad coordinators. How do you look at Nick? 700 win percentage. Jesus, only like Madden and a couple other guys that have that. How do you look at him in this process? Because nobody would ever say this. The coordinators were not responsible for the victories this year. They were, both Vic and Kellen. Kellen got a job. There was Nick. What was his job in this whole process?
There's no doubt about that. And I've always thought that, and I'll take it even one step further, Dan. When people are evaluating football teams and coaching staffs, mostly and obviously people will focus first on the head coach. I understand that. And, the more enlightened fan will start talking about the 2 coordinators. And nobody goes much beyond that. Nobody talks about the position coaches. And, man, from having been around football a long time, I've been to a lot of training camps, watched a lot of practices. They are so the forgotten soldiers in football is those position coaches. Now in Philly, it's not quite that way because Jeff Stoutland has become like a superstar. Okay. But that's only because the offensive line has played that way. And these guys have kept giving all the credit to Jeff Stoutland. So people know who he is, but all these other coaches, they're out there and they're working their butts off. And every day on the practice field, when you watch it, it amazes me. It really amazes me when I travel around the league and watch practice, how little time some staffs, not this staff, but some staffs spend developing their players. It's like when you're in high school, coaches are developing their players, trying to teach them every day because they're kids. You get to college, still kind of the same thing. They'll continue to try and develop the players, make them better every day. But it seems to me so often that when guys get to the NFL, that part goes away. And it's all about game plan. It's all about strategy. It's all about this and that. But you don't see the day-to-day, down in the dirt, grassroots, developing the players and trying to make them better from day to day to day to day. And I think that is so wrong. Just because a guy gets to the NFL doesn't mean he should stop developing. And really good coaching staffs with really good teachers, you can see it in the players. A guy is at this level one year, comes back the next year, he's here, and then he's here. Those are the teams that win. You know, they don't just bring new guys in all the time and just let them, you're in the NFL now, you know what to do, go do it. No, every day, football is a sport where every day you have to work guys and you have to teach guys and you have to demand a lot from them and to get them to improve and get better every day. And some coaching staffs have that, and a lot of coaching staffs shockingly don't. But the teams that have it, they're the teams that win. I mean, I remember being out in like on the West Coast. I was out there a lot during the 49ers glory years. And that was the kind of staff that Bill Walsh had. Yep. I mean, they really developed their players and they really worked the players on the practice field all the time. And those coaches were teachers. And I remember the first time I went out there, Mike Holmgren was still the offensive coordinator. Bill Walsh was running the team, but Mike Holmgren.
Bob McKittrick was the O-line coach out there. I mean,
yes, McKittrick was a great coach. But I remember the first time after one of the practices sitting with Mike Holmgren and talking to him about how the West Coast offense worked and how it was taught and how they worked it every day on the practice field. And I remember I talked to Mike for like 45 minutes where he walked me through the whole offense. And I remember walking away and saying, you know, I never met this guy before, but after 45 minutes, I said, this guy is going to be a great head coach someday. I mean, I just had that feeling because he was such a good teacher and he explained things so well. And I think that when you talk about coaching, everybody assumes that at the NFL, it's the best of the best. And in some ways it is, but in some ways it's not. But I really do feel that having been around good teams, that the best teams have the best coaching staffs. And I don't just mean the guy at the top or the two coordinators. I mean the best coaches all the way down because they get the maximum out of their players. And I really do think this Eagles staff is really, really good. I think they really do a good job. And you saw this year with these two coordinators, when Vic came in, the difference that he made on that defense, oh my goodness. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we know Kellen Moore is gone. I have not heard anything about Vic Fangio. I mean, Vic's 66. I mean, he's always been wanting to win a Super Bowl ring. He's got it now. Is there any chance he might just walk away?
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, nobody's really kind of asked him that question. It's just kind of out there. But I mean, I hope he comes back. And I think that with that wonderful nucleus of great young players on that side of the ball, I kind of think Vic's going to want to keep working with them. But I don't know. I would hate to think that the Eagles would be in a position where they'd have to once again replace both coordinators because, you know, that's tough for any team to do.
Absolutely. Two last ones here for you, Ray. Help me out here on Howie. You know, I wrote down some of the people that you and I know or knew when it came to the type of coordinator or the type of general managers that would end up in Canton. Ozzie Newsome more as a player. Then he also did great things in Cleveland and in Baltimore. Gil Brandt, Tex Schramm kind of revolutionized really drafting off of what Paul Brown did. Paul was the original game film guy and all that. Polian built those Bills teams, got the Super Bowl in Indianapolis. Bobby Beathard built the teams in Miami. He was a personnel guy. Then, of course, went to Washington and built those teams there. George Young built those teams. These guys are all in the Hall of Fame and Ron Wolf. Howie now is a two-time Executive of the Year, two-time Super Bowl champion. To me, I think the magic with him, though, is the owner. The owner is the guy, Ray, that puts the money up front and allows him to be able to manipulate that salary cap so that you can have lower cap hits. If it's not for Lori's the only owner I see. Everyone goes, how are they doing it? Well, he gives them the bag of money. And Ray, I tell people at the end, players they don't want guaranteed money down the road. They want money in the bank now. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's always enticing. Hey, I'll give you 30 now if you can give me 10 on a base instead of 15 on a base. That's how he manipulates it. He's been better since he came out of the broom closet. He went on that thing with R.C. Slocum, who ran the Spurs, and it looks like he's a better listener now than he was before. How do you see him, Howie Roseman, now? I mean, he's better since he got his job back after the whole Chip Kelly thing, right? I mean, is he really been recreated here from the time before that? Because he seems better to me now.
Yeah, I think so. I really do. And listen, he's a smart guy, and he's been doing it a long time, and he's learned. And in some ways, he's learned from his mistakes, but he's learned. I mean, there's some people that never learn from their mistakes. There are some people that just keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again. And then there are the guys who are smart, like Howie, that recognize, no, that's wrong. I got to change that. I got to do it differently. Like I thought that, and to your point, at the beginning of this conversation, is he approaching Hall of Fame territory? Yeah, he is. I mean, you mentioned 2 times Executive of the Year. I'm sure he's going to win that at least a couple more times. He probably should have won it this year. I mean, this was his best year, and he didn't win it. But, I mean, he'll win it again. This team could win it a couple more times. He's already done something that only 4 other general managers have done, which is win multiple Super Bowls with different quarterbacks. I mean, that's, you mentioned George Young. He did it. You mentioned Al Davis did it.
Bobby Beathard did it.
You mentioned Beathard did it, and you mentioned Ozzie did it. Ozzie won one. Ozzie won one with Joe Flacco, and people forget he won one with Trent Dilfer.
Right.
So, and all of those guys that we just mentioned are in the Hall of Fame. Well, Howie's right there now. So, and he's still a relatively young guy. So I think it's real possible that he could get in. But one of the things that I've noticed about Howie, and when he first started, when he first got the power, when he first moved from the numbers side to the personnel side, and he ran his first draft. His first draft that he really ran was the Brandon Graham draft. And one of the things I saw when I was looking at the guys he was drafting, on balance, I mean, Brandon Graham turned out to be a great player, but on balance, it wasn't a great draft. But one of the things that he did, and this couldn't have been a coincidence, was, I mean, all of these guys that he drafted, the Daniel Teo-Nisham and Jamar Chaney and the kid Clayton and all these guys, if you looked at their combine numbers, like they were all like combine guys. Like, they scored high in the bench press. They scored high in the cone drills. They scored. And I thought that it isn't an accident that you look at all these guys in the draft and they all were combine guys. And sometimes those numbers can help you, but sometimes they don't necessarily tell you if a guy can play football. And I think early on that Howie leaned on those numbers a lot, and I think he allowed himself to fall in love with guys at Indianapolis that didn't turn out to be nearly the players they thought they were going to be. Now, after having been through it for not just years but decades, I think now he's begun to see that the real answers lie on the tape. There's not a question of how fast does a guy run. The question is how well does he play. And I think that Howie is now, I mean, he still does the combine and he still looks at those numbers, but I think he now has a more practical application of what I'm looking for in a player. What kind of skills does he have? How competitive is he? How well does he play in big games? How well does he play against really good competition? And you don't find those answers out in March in a pair of shorts. You find those out during the season in real competition. And I think Howie has become much better at that. And he's also surrounded himself with a bunch of scouts who know what they're doing, and he listens to them. So, he's learned a lot in what he's been doing. And right now, there's no question he's the best of the best in the front office, and the Eagles have been the beneficiaries of that.
All right, Ray, I'm going to end it with this. Angelo told me you got the encyclopedia of Eagle history here. Is there going to be like a chapter in the golden era here of Jalen Hurts to be added here? Surely we're going to be adding to the history of the Eagles here. You have to be updating that, no?
I'm writing it right now.
Right.
There have been, Dan, I've written three versions. The book is called The Eagles Encyclopedia. It is literally The Eagles Encyclopedia. And I've done 3 editions of it. One was after the first Super Bowl, the Andy Super Bowl that they lost in Jacksonville. I did 1 edition of it then. That was the first. I did an updated version about 10 years later when Chip Kelly was here. And then obviously I did one after Super Bowl 52 when they actually won it. And so now I'm rewriting the book again because of what happened on Sunday. So, yeah, I mean, it's from a writing standpoint, it's probably the biggest challenge I've ever had, because I'm going to have to rewrite a 480-page book, and my deadline is March the 7th. So that's, you're talking about being up against it. I'm up against it, but
so no emails to Ray Didinger, Sileo, until after that.
That's listen. If it wasn't you, Dan, I wouldn't have done this thing, because I am literally, if you could see around me, I am just in a sea of papers, and I'm going to be living in this until March the 7th. But you know what? It's such a great story, and I never get tired of telling it. And to be able to pay this thing off with 2 Super Bowls in this period in 7 years. I mean, who as a native Philadelphian, who was a longtime Eagles fan, ever thought would see this day? So, I mean, it's a lot of work and it's a lot of sleepless nights, but in the end, it's who doesn't love a book with a happy ending? And we sure got one Sunday.
Absolutely. Ray, I can't thank you enough. I hope we can do this again, man. That was absolutely awesome stuff. Thank you again for taking time out of your extremely busy day. And really, man, I really appreciate you doing this. Thank you, sir.
It was my pleasure, Dan. Anytime. Take care.
You bet, my friend. Ray Didinger. Awesome stuff, my guys. That was really great. Please do me a favor and hit the like button there. We so appreciate it. You guys have been great. Please hit that like button. Hey, Xander, do you want me to do one John Morgan here and not go away, and then you just come back and we can close it up? We got to kind of owe it. I think I owe a John Morgan here if you want me to do that. I know that you got Pat coming up next, or we can make it up tomorrow. You just let me know what you want to do here, so we can do that if you want to do whatever you want to do. Okay? Very good. We'll do that now. Our good friends at John Morgan with Morgan & Morgan. We had them on a week ago. Make sure you guys check out our friends at Morgan & Morgan, the #1 injury law firm in America, with over $20 billion recovered for their clients. It is just the best law firm in the country. Pennsylvania, I told you about the family, $650K they were offered. They got $26 million when it came to their resolution on what that case was in Florida. A family was offered $350K. They ended up getting $12 million back. Look, life is tough. We know this. Decisions are tough to make. This will be the easiest decision that you make. For more info, go to forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's FORthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. And do me a favor, tell them Big Sales sent you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
All right, folks, you were absolutely sensational this week in football. Stay tuned for Pat. Xander's going to hit the airways with him as well. Please hit that like button. Big Joe, Big Z, we appreciate it. 2 to 6 tomorrow, and we'll see you on the flip side.